All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wargames podcast number 35. Jesus Christ. Getting closer and
35.
closer to that year mark, only a little bit longer. So, joining me tonight, as per usual, is the Lobster.
Yo.
And in addition to the Lobster, who's our special guest tonight, Mr. Lobster?
That would be the impeccable Mrs. Lobster. But for the purposes of what we're doing here, she would like to be called Rain, since that has been her nickname for quite some time. But
So-
yeah, unfortunately for her, this is my wife.
So yeah, we have the Queen Lobster with us tonight, and the usual dipshit. So as you guys can see from the title, and I do apologize if audio levels are a little bit out of whack, guys. I'll be working on them as we go because we're doing this in Discord tonight instead of TeamSpeak. So as you guys can see from the title, this is kind of a special episode. This is the season of blue balls for us gamers. And no, I don't mean taking that vacation with your wife to Vegas. I mean, E3 was this weekend. If you didn't know, I don't know how the fuck you possibly couldn't know.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah. And Bad Wolf, should you go to a Bad Wolf's concert next week? Well, I would say it's kind of fate, but yes, absolutely. Bad Wolves are pretty fucking outstanding in terms of their skill. One of the more underrated bands that I've seen as of late in terms of newer metal bands. They've been getting really popular lately, but those guys have been around for quite a while. And they're pretty fucking outstanding. So I would say yes. You got a chance to go see them live? Absolutely. So before we get into all of the E3 discussion, because we do have a absolute fuck ton of stuff to talk about, first thing that I want to talk about real quick is a little piece of news that I seen right before we went live, and that was Comcast's bid on Fox. Which, if any of you guys don't know, Fox has gone up for sale. Disney and Comcast have been kind of going back and forth with bids on it. I believe Time Warner also had put a bid in there. And for a while, Disney was kind of leading the charge. They were the highest bidder. And now Comcast has swooped in and outbid them by a whopping 19% to a grand total of $65 billion fucking dollars. Absolute insanity. $65 billion for Fox. Isn't our, at least it wasn't our annual budget for defense $65 billion?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was in like 2016 or maybe 2015. Our annual budget for defense spending was $65 billion. Like, holy fuck.
If Comcast buys Fox, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Fox own like FX?
Mm-hmm.
They own, like, that's a lot of
Yeah, they
content.
own a fuck ton of TV networks.
Yeah, I mean, and FX has, I would say FX has more often than not been a source of good television. Like
Yeah.
Louis and Justified, I think were really good shows. But yeah, that's kind of scares me. To be honest with you, I think it's kind of a natural inclination to be kind of afraid of big business in this country, but it kind of scares me when the already largest cable network or largest cable provider in the country is buying one of the largest cable networks in the country, in the world.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, Fox shows us NFL games, so I
Yeah.
mean, Comcast will own that.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those where, you know, either way, no matter who buys it, whether it be Comcast or Disney or Time Warner, no matter which one buys it, it's going to make them the largest media company in the world, hands down. You know, I mean, between Disney, all the Disney bullshit that they have, they own ABC, they own fucking Marvel. I mean, if they were to get Fox on top of that, I mean, personally, I want Disney to get Fox so they get the rights back to Spider-Man because Fox owns Sony, I do believe. So that would be cool. I don't want Comcast to get it just because Comcast can suck a dick. But yeah, that's. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. That I mean, it's absolutely insane amount of money. I remember back when Disney bought Pixar, it was huge news that they spent like 7 billion on Pixar, and now they're looking at having to pay more than 35 billion for fucking Fox. So yeah, we'll see. So obviously going to talk about E3 tonight, but before we actually get into any of the games and stuff like that from E3 this year, firstly, what were your guys' feelings going into E3 this year? I know myself personally, and I want to hear from you guys in chat on this one as well. Me personally, I wasn't overly hyped for E3 because last year was kind of not necessarily disappointing, but it was just kind of underwhelming. It was nothing that amazing last year, so I wasn't really expecting a whole lot. We already knew quite a few of the games that were coming out thanks to multiple leaks and stuff like that, so I wasn't necessarily surprised by anything. So, what were your guys' feelings going into E3? Were you really excited for it, or was it just kind of whatever whatever gets shown gets shown?
I personally was excited. There's some points during E3 that I didn't care for, but it was an interesting viewing. I monitor a server of mine where I keep in tabs of E3 updates, trailers, games, and whatnot. So it's pretty overwhelming, but yeah.
I was uh I was excited. I was really excited to see. I mean, obviously we'll go into this, but I'd say pre Saturday going into it, I was really looking forward to Sony only because I think Sony as of this generation of consoles, since the Xbox One was revealed, since the PS4 was revealed, Sony has been bitch slapping Microsoft time and time again
Yeah,
on that front. There was a time where the 360 was king. Like the 360 versus the PS3, I would argue. I mean, the sales, the PS3 didn't come close to the Xbox 360 for quite a while. It took a long time for the PS3 to catch up.
yeah, but that
But
was because of one game. That was because of Halo.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
sure,
definitely.
sure. But honestly, like ever since that fucking E3 where Sony was like, suck a dick, Microsoft. It's been nothing but good shit from Sony, and I was really looking forward to that one. I was curious. I was kind of curious for Bethesda's because Fallout,
Hmm.
and I'm not really a Fallout fan, but I was just curious to see where they were going to take that.
Right, what they
Um,
were gonna do with it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was curious to see what Microsoft was going to do because I think we're at a point, and like especially last year, that debacle with EA and Star Wars and shit. I think we're kind of turning a corner now. I don't know why it took so long, but I think we're kind of turning a corner where these companies, where Microsoft, where EA, these massive, massive fucking giant companies that regularly were kind of well known for fucking over the consumer in the long run, are kind of saying, you know what, we fucked up, and um, we should probably try to fix this.
Right.
And with Microsoft, just their complete absence of any type of like their no fucking they have almost no exclusive titles, almost none compared to
Yeah.
Sony. They're the like just the fucking nonsense that's been surrounded by the Xbox One since it was announced, with the always online bullshit, the fucking what's that camera called? I always forget. The motion camera
Oh,
that
the
was
Connect
mandatory. The
thing.
Connect,
Yeah.
yeah, like that whole thing where you had to have a Connect. Like, I was curious to see if they were trying to climb out of the hole that they've dug themselves into, and we'll talk about it. But I felt pretty good about where Microsoft ended up at the end of E3 this year.
Well, And since guys are already kind of bringing it up a little bit in chat there, and it's one that you were excited for. I was even excited for it, even though I don't own one. Let's talk about Sony first.
Sure.
I was
All three of
excited.
us loved, like
Yeah,
me and Rain, like we set time aside, like we're watching Sony, and we fucking sat there with our eyes glued to the television. We were watching fucking Sony,
yeah.
and
Like
They did a
I
great
was,
presentation.
yeah, I was excited to see what they had just because of, like you said, Sony's been knocking out of the fucking park lately with their exclusives, between Last of Us and now fucking God of War and stuff. They've been doing just a great job lately. To the point that, I mean, I'm genuinely tempted to buy a PlayStation because of the games that they have now. So first, let's briefly, since we only can briefly, Death Stranding, Kojima's new game.
yeah,
So that is the one that we've seen the trailer for many a times, really. That's got Norman Reedus in it from Boondock Saints and The Walking Dead. And yes, I'll always fucking recognize him as
Boondock
one of the
Saints first.
Saints before fucking Walking Dead. Because he was one of the McManus brothers first, damn it. And then it also has Mads Mikkelsen, which is awesome. I fucking love that dude. So, we've all seen the trailer, the first trailer that was shown to us, and nobody understood a fucking thing as to what was
Right.
going on with the game. So they
Yeah.
showed, I guess, another trailer at E3. I didn't actually see it.
I haven't seen it. If there was a second one, I haven't seen it.
From what I've understood from people that have watched it, it was directly related to me. I watched it and I still don't understand what the fuck the game is about. So I mean, I don't know. It's I'm not sure that playing the cards that close to the chest at something like E3 is really the right thing to do. Granted, it's Kojima. Everybody loves him. People are gonna buy that fucking game just because his name is attached to it. It could be a complete steaming pile of dog shit, and people will still buy it because his name is attached to it because he's so beloved. But like, give us something, man. Like, for me, someone that isn't on that dude's dick like a condom, what I've seen so far isn't enough to make me buy the fucking game. It's not even enough to make me interested in the game. Having Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen may be enough to make me interested in the game, but what I've seen so far in terms of teasers and shit, I'm like, I really don't give a shit.
At least give us details, a hint,
Yeah,
something.
I can I, I can say, like, as a Kojima fan. I mean, I'm not. I know that my wife, I know that she enjoys the occasional Metal Gear experience, but I don't. What about you, bro? Are you a Metal Gear fan? Did you play the Metal Gear Solid games? No.
Not really, no.
Okay.
I was more
Me,
into like Gran Turismo and shit.
right. I guess I would be the fanboy here in this equation then, because I'm a huge fucking Metal Gear fan. I didn't really I haven't touched five, just because of everything that was around it, and blah blah blah, Kojima,
Right.
leaving and or getting fired, whatever happened. But Metal Gear, all 1 through 4, like every game. I mean, if you've played like 2, if you've played 3, if you've played 4, like they're so fucking out there. They're so like political and poetic and weird, and like there's all this weird Japanesey shit in there that just doesn't make sense anywhere else but in this Kojima universe. And for me, seeing the shit that Kojima was putting on the screen for this trailer, like Norman Reedus has like a baby in a fucking glass jar, like strapped to his chest, that like turns on his shoulder flashy thingy that like illuminates the monsters. And I'm like, yeah, it's Kojima. That makes sense somehow. There's a manual somewhere in the game that explains how that shit works, and it's and it's completely
Yeah.
acceptable.
I mean, it
Uh,
it reminds me a lot of kind of typical Japanese cinema, like a lot of the, not necessarily the, the John Woo type shoot 'em up, but
No,
in
no.
terms
That's
of Metal Gear, Metal Gear reminds me a lot of kind of the John Woo style of films. Very,
sure,
very,
sure.
very cinematic. Even in gunfights, being very
Yep, there's a
cinematic.
lot of slowdown, and there was a lot of inspiration for John Woo, especially in some of the gunfights, especially in Metal Gear Solid 3. There's a few instances where Snake is squaring off against Ocelot, and there's like all this goofy like slow motion shit. Like there's bullets that are slowly traveling. There's bullet time, you know what I mean? But it's
Hmm.
during the cutscenes. But that's very, very like John Woo.
Yeah,
I had a basically what I'm thinking is that like this game, what the fuck's it called?
Death
Stranded,
Stranding.
Death Stranding. Like I'm willing to bet that this was like all of Kojima's ideas for like Metal Gear 6, and then he doesn't work for Konami anymore. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just throw all these ideas into this
Right, it's
game.
just all the craziest shit that he was just like, well,
It
now
didn't
that
make
I
the
can do it
cut.
on my own,
Yeah.
I'll fucking put it in there. Um,
Um.
but yeah, in terms of, for me, whether I was excited to see more of it or am excited to see more of it now, I'm very much so on the fence. Like I could go either way.
Yeah.
If they show us some more of it soon, great. If not, I really don't care. It's probably the least of the big Sony titles uh, that I'm really interested in. So some of the other stuff that they announced, they showed us some of The Last of Us 2 with Ellie and all of that. So I mean, Last of Us is amazing story wise. I watched Code's playthrough of it. Amazing story. I think the gameplay needed some work. The actual gameplay itself seemed a little weak in my opinion.
Yeah.
The
It's
story,
repetitive.
yeah, the story itself was absolutely fucking outstanding. There's no disputing that. Hopefully the second one they've kind of tightened up the mechanics a little bit, made the gameplay itself a little better. Uh, that would be one, definitely, if I had a PlayStation right now, that would be one that I would end up purchasing day one. I don't really need to see more of it. It's all the same people working on the game, so I know the story is going to be outstanding. And like I said, I would hope that the gameplay itself is tweaked a little bit and tightened up. But it's definitely one that I would pick up day one if I had a PlayStation right now. See what else. So in terms of Sony's press conference, I mean, what really fucking blew your guys' wig back? I
Go
guess
ahead, babe.
that's nothing. Like
Babe.
fuck that. There was nothing.
All right.
It's just silence.
What did you think of
I'm
Sony?
sorry. It's too much. Like, there's a couple games I'm interested in. A, a lot of trailers. I can't really pinpoint offhand unless you can.
Well, like
It was
Last of Us.
overwhelming
Last of
watching
Us
3D.
was Last of Us.
Last of Us was okay.
That samurai game.
No, the
Was,
samurai game, it was ridiculous. I'm not.
It looked fucking beautiful.
yeah, that's
Holy
one of the best
shit.
games. That's the best looking game I've ever seen. If that's
Yes,
actually how it looks.
but the presentation of it with the guy with the flute just
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that for a
like, come
second.
on, we're not
Like,
watching a concert here. We're here for games.
yeah, like, and that's why I didn't watch any like full press conferences while they were happening this year. I went back and watched videos and just like skipped through shit. And that's a
Right,
big
lucky
reason
you.
why is because E3 has gotten more and more and more just fucking ridiculous. We don't have fucking what's his nuts Kennedy or whatever.
Kanye.
No, fucking Jamie Kennedy. You remember when he did the fucking interview all hammered a few years ago?
Oh,
Oh, it was
yeah,
fucking
vaguely.
hilarious. But yeah, just the stage shows are just getting fucking ridiculous, and it's like,
Yes,
dude,
it's like we're not
stop.
here
Yeah,
to
like
watch.
this is not fucking Broadway, douchebags. We're a bunch of fucking nerds that sit at our computers for
Yeah.
12 hours a day. Show us the
Right.
fucking video games
It's
before
not
we rip your throat out.
It's not performance art, It's like
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're watching, you see this guy with a flute, and like, oh, okay, and it jumps right into the game. It's like, oh, this is 3D now. Like that's what we're
Yeah,
here to
it's just
watch.
like, who gives a shit? We don't care about your fucking attempt at cultural appropriation for your fucking retarded
Right.
ass samurai
Right.
game.
Yeah.
Like, just show us the fucking gameplay, douchebag.
Yes.
They did the same thing with The Last of Us too. Like, oh, okay, the cutscene is at like a hoedown. So let's have a guy with a banjo. All right, next game.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
fucking it's a samurai game. Let's have this dude playing this goofy fucking wooden flute thing with his fucking goofy shoes on and his jet whatever hat, his Chinese hat,
Yeah. It's
whatever. Hey,
absolutely
there's a Chinese
ridiculous.
game coming up in case you couldn't tell.
I'm just when you were telling me that he kind of looked like Raiden with the rice hat and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Um,
did.
like all I could picture was Christopher Lambert, and I was like, I was just sitting there like, dude, how fucking awesome that stage show I would watch for them to get Christopher Lambert's old ass up there on
Yes, that
stage
would make it
playing
worth it.
a flute as Raiden. That'd be fucking awesome. Like nerds would love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, so the sideshows, I fucking just stop it. Stop it. Like, if I
You know
was
what's
at
gonna
E3,
happen?
I would be thrown out in the first fucking press
Dude,
conference.
we're like 3 years away from fucking Katy Perry playing at the next
Oh
E3. I
God,
swear to God.
please
I
no,
swear to God, it's gonna
no.
happen.
Yeah.
E3 is getting bigger every
But
year, which I don't think is a bad thing. But it's gonna become more and more pop culture oriented, and pretty soon we're gonna have fucking
Oh,
Taylor
it
Swift
already
playing
is.
at
I
our
mean,
fucking
look what
E3.
they were having fucking all those people that did that Battlefield 1 fucking tournament last year. I mean, there was some people like Terry Crews and shit that actually do legit play video games
Oh
and
yeah, that's
stream
right.
and shit like that, but
Like
they like
Snoop Dogg
Snoop
was there
Dogg and
too.
shit like, yeah,
Yeah,
like fuck off. Like,
they had Jamie
it's
Foxx.
yeah, it just I fucking hate all of it. So in terms of Sony though, no, I don't. They didn't show anything from Ace Combat that I know of. At least I didn't see anything
I
from it.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't either.
So there wasn't any announcement about God of War, which isn't really surprising because obviously the newest one just came out. And, they have said that they are, they are
right.
going to be doing another one. But I was hoping they would at least say, hey, yes, we are working on the next one. Just give us something, some type of nod to be like, hey, yep, we're already going on the next one. We know you guys loved it. This is official confirmation. We're rocking and rolling. I was hoping for that, but we didn't see any of that. Was there anything else from Sony that was really?
I mean, again, this is I know that my wife got a little tingle from this too, but I was fucking so excited. I said a couple of things would probably happen before Sony's thing came out. I said they're gonna do Last of Us, and I
Mhm.
was right. They did that. That was the
Yeah,
first thing they did was
we
Last of
knew
Us.
that from
Yeah. And then I
weeks ago.
speculated, based on what I've been gathering up in the past few months, I speculated that there's gonna be something for Resident Evil 2. I like because
Oh,
there's
Oh,
not.
he
yep,
missed
the
it.
remake.
I missed it.
He missed it. I
I
was
had to leave
so.
I had to leave the house for like 10 minutes. I
You
He
were
ran.
comes. He
crying the
comes
whole
back
time.
Yeah,
in. He
yeah,
comes back in, and I'm like, dude, you just missed Resident Evil, and I watched all of it.
yeah. She got to see it before me, and
Don't
so I
say
was.
that. That's how fucking spouses get murdered.
Yeah. Was it good? Was it better than me?
Yes,
Huh?
yes, it was.
Is dick bigger than mine? But yeah.
Leon was amazing.
I'm like a super like Resident Evil fucking like
Yeah.
insane fan, and the so I went back and watched it. Like I paused the Twitch stream, and when I don't give a fuck what else is playing on E3 right now. I'm going back and I'm watching Resident Evil 2 trailer. So it
Because
was
your wife
yeah,
sent you a trailer because she was nice.
I only
but
have one question about the Resident Evil remake or
yeah,
remaster, whatever the fuck it is.
yeah.
Can I move while I shoot?
Oh,
This one,
I don't
yes,
know.
yeah, you
Can
can.
you?
Okay.
Yeah, the reason that you can, so what they did when they remade the first game is they basically took Resident Evil 1, obviously, and then they gave it they gave it a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah,
They
yeah, they did.
added some more shit to it. They made it look gorgeous, and they added some new rooms and they added some new puzzles. So at its core, it was the same game. It was just bigger and it had more story and it was a
Yeah, it
little
was
bit
just a little
deeper.
more fleshed out.
They made the pond a little bit wider and they made the pond a little bit deeper. Yeah. Um, Resident Evil 2, however, is literally going to be it's not so the first remake was same mechanics, same camera. So, you know, it was tank controls, or you can kind of switch over to modern controls. But there was no moving. There was no like modern amenities of like moving and shooting. It was still very much at its core the same game. Resident Evil 2, however, is there's a trailer for it. There's a gameplay trailer for it out. I think you linked it, hun. But
I can do it
it's
again.
it's about 20 minutes of footage of like the first 20 minutes of the game, and there's no spoilers here. The original game came out in 1996. It's been out for 22 years. So if you don't know that Leon and Claire crash their car, they go through the gun store, they go to the police station. Like if you don't know that by now, you live under a fucking rock.
Thanks for making me feel old, Resident Evil.
Yes, what they've done is it's really interesting. If you watch the footage and watch the HUD, they've taken like the Resident Evil 4 camera, which was Leon's over-the-shoulder camera in Resident Evil 4, and they basically took Resident Evil 7, which is the most recent one that came out, where it's first person, and they made it third person. And so you can move and shoot. You interact with your inventory is the same as it is in Resident Evil 7. It's gorgeous looking. So like
So is it first person or is it third person?
It's third person.
It's third person.
But basically they took Resident Evil 7 and made it third person instead of first person. That's pretty much the only change to the engine and the user interface. And then they reskinned, and then they rebuilt Resident Evil 2 from the ground up and put your character in that.
Right, so they took all the assets from Resident Evil 2 and put it into the new engine.
Right. Well, I mean, they completely redesigned it. I mean, but at its core, the skeleton is still Resident Evil 2. It's going to hit all the same notes. It's going to have all the same story beats.
Right.
But it's just better looking, better.
Does it have co-op?
No. That's never been a thing.
Yeah, that's never been. I don't think they ever will either.
Well,
Resident Evil. Co-op. Yeah, I was gonna say one of them had co-op.
6 had co-op, and then Revelations had co-op. Was that stupid fucking shitty co-op focused Resident Evil game?
Oh yeah.
But 6 had me and you played 6 with Leon and
I remember that.
Yeah, that chick. But I'm super. I had goosebumps watching the Resident Evil 2 trailer. I cannot fucking wait to play that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know if
I don't know if it's gonna be PS4 though exclusive. That's what worries me because it was on Sony's press conference. I haven't looked it up. It's probably one Google search away.
I would have to think that it is PlayStation exclusive if it's Sony's.
PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Oh, it's on PC. Okay, because Resident Evil 7 was on PC.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil Remake, the first one was on PC. So I was hoping that they would do that again for 2.
Yeah. So the consoles are PS4, Xbox, and PC. So same thing.
Okay, so. You're super excited for that. I've never really been a huge.
It looks gorgeous. You got to watch the trailer.
I was a huge fan of the first fucking. I was a huge fan of the first movie, but that was because of
what's her name?
Mila Jovovich.
Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, but that was mostly just because like Sydney loves her and always wants to like dress up in the costumes that she wears, and I was like, I'll buy the red dress.
Oh yeah, that's right. She did the Lulu Dallas, the bandages, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, even did the fucking orange hair and everything.
His wife did, yeah.
So yeah, I mean maybe I'll check it out if I can actually move and shoot, because that always just pissed me off. It's like I'm this super fucking badass, highly trained motherfucker, and I can't take 2 steps and fire a 45. Like, fuck off. So
I don't recall what else.
What
else did Sony do?
So we
named 3
I think
games, that's it.
I mean, I think that was like their big announcements. Maybe somebody in chat knows anything other big ones that they may have announced that we're forgetting. But for now, let's move on to the other one that we were kind of looking forward to, which was Bethesda. So Bethesda, everybody was expecting 2 things: Fallout and Elder Scrolls. And then that leak happened that we talked about a little while back with the Rage 2 shit being shown on that Walmart Canada website, Blame Canada. And they did show some stuff from Rage 2, which looks somewhat cool. I mean, it looks like I said before, it looks like Mad Max meets Doom. You know, it's pretty accurate. I think they took pretty much the exact gameplay out of Doom and put it in the setting of Mad Max. So it looks pretty cool. We'll see. I think it would be. I think that would be a really fun game with like 2 to 4
Yeah,
player co-op. That would
definitely.
be fucking cool.
More so that the world's bigger than Fallout 4.
Yeah.
4 times bigger.
And then we have. So they showed a little bit from Rage, and then we knew that Fallout 76 was coming thanks to that stream or that GIF or whatever the fuck it was that Bethesda put up saying, please stand by. We now know, yes, it's Fallout 76. It's a prequel to the other games. Vault 76 is one of the first vaults ever built. There was no experiments that happened in Vault 76. It was kind of one of their control vaults.
It was a genuine, like, it was a
It
genuine
was a legit vault.
shelter where you go and when the bombs drop.
And it was one of the first vaults to open. So everything that you're going to be experiencing in Fallout 76 is prior to all of the other Fallout games. So that's all pretty cool. What are the actual, meat and bones of the game? Well, we don't know, obviously, what the main storyline is or anything like that quite yet, other than knowing that it's prequel.
And hopefully it's not find your fucking baby. Just fuck that.
Oh, God.
So Drum had seen something about no NPCs or some shit like that, but we seen NPCs in the gameplay trailer, so I don't know where the fuck he's seen that, but I don't think it was correct.
Guy, whatever that fuck that guy, Todd, whatever that guy's name is, the guy from Bethesda, he said that there are no, like it's all, I think the phrase that he used was it's all players, but I guess my question was, and I think Todd Howard, that's what it is. I think Drum answered it was, I'm like, well, if it's all players, if there's no NPCs, who gives you quests?
Right.
But I guess like the humans are like the human, the vault, the people that come out of the vaults and the people that
The
like
NPCs.
right. If there's no, if there's no humans, then how do you have like? Because you got to have like a Diamond City. You got to have like a hub. You got to have a hub to get all your shit from. So like who gives you the quests? Who runs the shops? Who does all that shit then?
Yeah, there's definitely NPCs. I don't know exactly what the wording was there, what the miscommunication was, but I mean, you can clearly see NPCs in the gameplay video, so that's not really a big concern. So this Fallout is going to be the first Fallout that is going to be online. In fact, it is required to be online, which a lot of people are not happy about. The reason it's required to be online, being an online-only game, is that it is multiplayer. There is the availability for co-op, but there is also the availability for anytime world PvP. Now, you can also build bases, much like with Fallout 4. However, this time around, you can build your base wherever the fuck you please, which is very nice. You can have parties of up to 4 people. And as I said, you can come across enemies at any point in time, whether it be NPCs or other players. So a lot of people really aren't happy about that because Fallout has always been a single-player RPG. And now it's not. I love the co-op aspect of it. I'm not real fond of the multiplayer aspect of it. Reason being, we already know how the fuck that turns out. People have been playing DayZ for almost 10 fucking years.
Right.
We know how that shit happens.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like you sign off and then you come back and your fucking base is gone?
Yeah.
Because a couple of
It's
kids.
another Rage and Rust as it is.
And you're talking about, a game like Fallout where you can easily sink hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours into, and to potentially lose it, when you're not even there. Yeah, I am not thrilled about that.
I'm sure that there will be there was a comment that just got made in chat, like ESO. It's not going to be like ESO. ESO is an MMO. Fallout 76.
Yeah, it's not going to.
be
The
an
servers
MMO.
are not going to be that big.
So the
I
server,
believe,
he said dozens, so
yeah,
like less than 100 of
yeah,
players
so
on a server.
maybe max 40. But
Yeah,
they are
10
going to
parties.
have dedicated servers, so you can, have your own server box running it,
Yeah,
which is
Right.
pretty cool. Uh,
and like
but it,
Conan, maybe you can turn off PvP. Maybe you
yeah,
Right.
can.
Exactly.
yeah, very, very good possibility. Which is cool. They're gonna have dedicated servers. You know, I don't know if it's gonna have. We'll see if it has the, I guess, replayability to justify, going out and buying a server for, $50 to $75 a month for a dedicated box. I don't know if it'll have that kind of replayability. We'll see. Um, the thing is with that multiplayer aspect, and the thing that DayZ failed to do was to make a clear line as to why it was good and why it was bad to kill other people. There's no there's no reason to not kill other people in
Yeah, there's no
DayZ.
Right.
Yeah,
consequences.
there's
There's
no
no.
consequence whatsoever.
You only gain by killing other
Right.
players. You get their
Exactly.
shit,
Yeah.
like, which is fine.
The division made a very good attempt at that with the Dark Zone, and if you kill other players, you go rogue, and now everybody gets a benefit for killing you.
Right.
I like that system. Granted, it got kind of fucked because of all the hackers and stuff like that, but that's if they're going to do multiplayer like that, then they need to do some type of system like that for
Right.
it. Where
To
if
govern.
you're killing other actual people, you need to be, yes, you get their gear, you get all their loot and stuff, but now you're wanted by everybody else, and
Right. That
they
would make
can
sense.
collect a bounty by killing you. And like I was telling Drum last night, like I'd be all for that. Like yeah, we could fucking have a group of 4 guys and just go out bounty hunting and fucking kill these people that are killing other players. Like that, I would be okay with. But they definitely need to, you know, you get your benefit from killing people, but there's also a consequence to it. If not, then I'm absolutely not interested in any way, shape, or form. I don't give a fuck about it at all.
Right.
Will not play it. So that was the biggest news. Well, I guess maybe not the biggest news. They also announced Elder Scrolls 6. They didn't really show us anything of it, just a quick little fucking splash screen saying Elder Scrolls 6. It's like, thanks for the fucking cock tease. Like, I could have wasted my money and
Right.
gone to the titty bar for that. And then they also showed some fucking Elder Scrolls mobile game, which I'm sure if I had
Oh
a phone
God.
that would even play it, would just make me want to whip it across the room into the wall. So, and then they also announced what's the Fallout mobile
Fallout
shit?
Shelter.
Fallout Shelter will
It's
be
coming
going
to
to
Switch
the Nintendo
and
Switch and
PlayStation.
the PlayStation, and it dropped that day, and it's free yet again, which is very cool of those guys. And I do think that's like a perfect game for the Nintendo Switch. Absolutely perfect game for it. But yeah, so they showed us a little bit of fucking Fallout 76. Nothing that really blew my skirt up. I'm not super excited for it right now. It's
Yeah,
just
neither
one of
am I.
those sit back and see.
Excuse me, dudes.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are like whatever about Resident Evil. So,
That's fair.
but like, to be fair, I would say that I would say, Brewer, that even you might even be a bigger fan of like Bethesda games than I am. Um, like, as someone uh, like, my wife has a way more hours in Fallout 4 than I ever will. Like, relatively speaking, she's played Fallout 4 a lot more than I have. That I will, because I probably won't play it ever again.
I've never
But
been the hugest Fallout fan. I was always more Elder Scrolls.
yeah, even then, I never really touched Elder Scrolls either. For
Yeah,
for
me
me,
me
like,
neither.
yeah, for me, the Bethesda games, I kind of tap out at the same spot every time. I play for like 10 hours, maybe 15,
Yeah, they're
and then
their
I just
mid
get
game.
bored.
Their mid game tends
Now,
to be pretty
would you
weak.
guys be interested with the new Fallout playing multiplayer compared to your um that you guys don't like the previous Fallout? Would you be willing to play this one
With
now
the
that it's out?
multiplayer,
Right.
yes. I'd say that multiplayer can a good multiplayer experience can extend the longevity of a game I mean, indefinitely if
Yeah.
it's done right.
I mean,
Um,
for me, the problem with the last Fallout wasn't a matter of, whether or not I had multiplayer. It was just a matter of the fucking story itself fucking
Yeah,
sucked.
I can agree to that. Yeah, definitely.
well, that and then like the the dialogue trees. Like again, I'm not a big RPG person. I'm really not, and I know that having a choice in in your dialogue choices is kind of like a big thing for
Oh, yeah.
RPGers and like, but like I remember vividly playing Fallout 4 and making a selection,
It
and it's
really
like, and
doesn't
then he
matter.
says something. A, it doesn't matter, and B, he would your character would say something. It's like that's not what I
Oh, yeah,
picked.
it's like
Right,
nowhere
right.
near what you were trying to say.
Yeah, that's
Um,
not what it says here that I clicked on.
that's why I think, especially in RPGs, it you have to do one of two things when it comes to dialogue
Don't
choices.
give him a voice.
No, you give them a voice. I fucking hate silent protagonists.
Oh,
I
really?
absolutely fucking hate them.
God, yeah, so
So
do I.
annoying. Um, so you need to do one of two things. Either A, make your choice when you choose something from that dialogue wheel. Your character says fucking exactly those words, or B, do much like what Mass Effect and stuff like that has done, and show you what the reaction to that choice is going to be. So you can see whether it's going to be a favorable reaction or if it's going to make you look like an asshole or whatever, whether it's going to raise your reputation with them or lower your reputation, whatever. So then, if they are going to take their fucking liberties with what your character's actually going to say, you at least have that to fall back on to see, okay, am I basically telling this dude to fuck off or am I saying, yes, I'll help you out? It
Right.
needs to be one of those two. Fallout didn't do that. It also didn't really fucking matter what you did. It's still, you got one of two endings, and you can't really play in the middle ground. It's either one extreme or the other, which was kind of annoying because Fallout was always known to be one of those games where what you do impacts the world. And
Yeah.
it could be the tiniest little choice that you made, and it could impact the world hours and hours and hours down the road.
Like
So,
Fallout 3. What was that town? The first town that you can blow up with the nuke in the
oh
middle of
yeah,
it.
yep.
Um,
God damn it, what was
whatever
the
the-
name of that town? I can't remember it now.
well, and
Um,
then like New Vegas is another one that I didn't play a lot of New Vegas. I didn't play a lot of Fallout 3, but like New Vegas, it literally is like, okay, you're out of the opening area, and Megaton. That's what it is. That's what it was. Megaton. Thank you, Liquid. But Liquid. But in New Vegas, you step out of your opening area, and it's like you just
yeah,
go wherever you want, and you like that hails all the way back to like the original fucking Zelda on NES. Is like you can go anywhere you want. You might stumble into a place that's hard as shit and it's
yeah,
gonna
and
fucking
get
kick your
yourself
ass,
killed.
but you can still go there.
And
Um,
I mean, for games like that now, where choices matter and you have dialogue and stuff like that. At this point, the bar has now been set by Detroit Become Human. And if any
I'll
of you
leave
guys
Oh, that
haven't
I'll leave this
watched,
to
that
you too.
game.
if any of you guys haven't watched someone play that, again, I recommend
Yes.
watching Ko's playthrough
I
of it.
want that game so bad.
I mean, it just, I've never seen it done better. Those guys have set the bar so fucking high. I mean, to the point that you could make the tiniest little fucking decision at the start of the game, and it could impact what the fuck happens at the end of the game. And you're talking about a 10, 12, 15-hour playthrough. It's absolutely fucking insane. Uh, so, now guys like Bethesda, like BioWare, the makers of these huge RPG games, like they've got to compete with that in my eyes now in terms of, do choices really matter in this? Because
Right.
compared to fucking Detroit, no, not really.
Well, BioWare made Mass Effect, right?
Yes, Mass Effect
Okay,
and Dragon Age.
so BioWare had it, and then they like kind of
Yeah,
lost
then
it
they
because
got rid of it.
Mass Effect 2 had that. Mass
Yeah,
Effect
so
2,
did Mass
I
Effect
didn't.
3.
Okay, did it? Okay, because I didn't play a lot of Mass Effect, but I vividly remember reading about it and seeing it. Like the choice.
Yeah.
There were some hard fucking choices
Yeah,
in Mass Effect
Mass
2 to
Effect
make, and
was
they
kind
mattered.
of Mass Effect was kind of it wasn't the originator, but they were the first one that it was like, oh, whoa, holy fuck, like what? I gotta choose between doing this and this. Oh, you guys are fucking assholes. Yeah, and that was another one. Like Dragon Age had somewhat the same thing, but the reason I didn't enjoy Dragon Age as much, besides the fact that I didn't get to shoot motherfuckers in the face, was it was a silent protagonist. Your character would never speak in Dragon Age until Dragon Age 2, I think, and that one was kind of meh. A lot of people didn't really enjoy that one, and then Inquisition was just fucking garbage. But yeah, BioWare absolutely did it right. And now, like I said, Bethesda, they need to do the same thing with this new Fallout. Like it needs to be more impactful. When it comes to story-driven games, which is what RPGs are all fucking about, is the story. You've got games now like The Last of Us, which isn't an RPG necessarily, but still very story driven.
Right.
God of War, Detroit Become Human. These games that are just so strong story wise that they need to compete with, and I'm honestly worried that that multiplayer aspect is going to pull away from that, because how are you going to you know make this massive story work with potentially 20, 30, 40 other fucking people running around destroying shit, killing things, killing
Right.
you, stuff like that. So I'm
What
worried that
what
the
if you
story is going to suffer from that.
what if you take a quest at the same time someone else takes the same quest? Like now, do you both? What if he kills the thing first?
Right.
Now, are you
So,
fucked? Can you
yeah.
not do the quest now?
Or is it like instanced? And if it's instanced, then what the fuck is
Right.
the sense of having multiplayer and single player in the same thing? Why not have them as two separate things?
Right.
So yeah,
Like,
I'm just,
it's not. Sorry. It's not lending to the story either. Like you're
mm-mm.
not like you randomly coming across. Oh fuck, another party. Shit. Like this, nothing changes from this encounter. Like the story, you're not affecting any faction. You're not helping anybody. You're not hurting anybody. You're just fighting other players. Like they're not. They're you gain nothing other than maybe some loot at the end of that. At the end of that skirmish.
Yeah.
Like
So do you think that Fallout is gonna become the next Rust if it doesn't have a decent story play?
I
I
think
mean,
it becomes the
that's,
next Rust if people don't get kept in check. Like if there's no punishment for being an asshole.
yeah. I mean, it's already, I mean, just the way it is now, aside from the fact that it's going to have some type of campaign. I mean, it already is Rust. It's just a more beautified version of it. You
Right,
have
it's
base
true.
building, you have scavenging, fighting other players and stuff. I mean, it's Rust with fucking lipstick. Um,
Are you implying that Fallout looks better than Rust? Because
Hell yeah.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Fallout's
Dude,
pretty fucking up.
we played Rust for how long, and you're gonna tell me that Rust looks way better than Fallout?
I think it
I
does.
tell you
I
what,
No.
think.
you can come up here and play fucking Fallout on my computer, and then you can know what a
All right,
pretty
yeah,
game
yeah.
looks
You and your
like.
fucking 1080. I know. I
Um,
know.
yes, Fallout can be made to look very, very fucking pretty. Uh, all right, so let's move on from fucking Bethesda, because Fallout 76, the more I talk about it, is just gonna piss me off more.
Well, where do you want to go? We got EA. We got Xbox. We got Ubisoft.
Well, I wanted to let's move on to Ubisoft, because Ubisoft has actually been kind of finding its fucking way into my heart a little bit lately. It's kind of like that retarded little brother that you never really wanted, but you don't have a
Okay.
choice. Yeah, pretty much. You got to pat him on the head every so often to make sure he doesn't swallow his tongue. That's Ubisoft for me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, and Riley just brought it up in chat. That's first and foremost thing I want to talk about, and that is Division 2. I've talked about Division a couple of times on the podcast. A lot of people fucking bash on it. I had a lot of fun with it. I actually just reinstalled it this morning and hopped in there and checked it out for a little while. They have added a fuck ton of stuff to it. Pretty fun. But I always had fun with the gameplay itself. Yes, the bullet sponge shit is annoying when, you know, you're dumping a full fucking magazine of 5.56 into a dude wearing a hoodie. Like, yeah, it doesn't look right. It
Guy with a
makes
baseball bat.
right. It makes sense in an RPG setting, but it doesn't make sense when your eyes are telling you that guy's wearing a $6 hoodie from Walmart. Like, it doesn't work, you know. If it was more futuristic and they were wearing all kinds of, you know, full like armor and shit, then it would work. Or if it was not the RPG element, more like Wildlands, but in that setting, then it would work. You know, it just doesn't work when it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
So
It's also like artificial difficulty too. It's just adding more hit points to
Yeah.
something doesn't make it. You know, it's not really harder. It's just.
it doesn't make you think more. It just
It's like. Yeah, it's just
makes you
adding more
fucking
seconds to the clock,
Yeah.
basically. It's artificial difficulty.
Well, I guess it does make you think more. You got to try and use a little bit more tactics. But so the first thing I want to talk about, they showed us some gameplay of it at E3, and as expected, it looks absolutely fucking stunning. I mean, beautiful, beautiful looking game. But immediately, you know, there's people fucking talking shit. Oh, it's going to be downgraded in typical Ubisoft and this and that. And it's like, do you fucking window lickers not realize this is actual gameplay? Like, this isn't a rendered
Right, exactly.
trailer
It's not a
like they've,
trailer.
you know, like they've done before, and everybody's like, oh, it looks like shit. Well, yeah, that was a rendered trailer at 4K on a fucking 100-inch monitor. You're playing on a 15-year-old PC on a 13-inch monitor. Of course it looks like shit, you idiot. But, you know, it's like, this is gameplay. Like, it can't be downgraded. This is the shittiest it's going to look because the game's not even done yet, and it looks fucking beautiful.
And I think
Yes,
they were playing it on a PS4.
right, and
like
they were
I-
playing it on a fucking console. And it's like, yes, when you get it home on your 10-year-old PC, it's not going to look as good as what it did on that brand new fucking PS4 Pro that's capable of doing 4K. Unless your rig is capable of running 4K, it's not going to look like that.
Right.
I'm sorry, your fucking brain does not allow you to comprehend that, but it's the facts. So the game itself looks awesome, as does the first one. Like I said, I fucking reinstalled it this morning and hopped in there, and you know, I have everything fucking cranked up to ultra, and it looks fucking beautiful. Absolutely. Like there's I don't own a game right now that I can load up that I can say, oh my god, this fucking blows the Division way in
Right,
graphics.
right.
You know, it's just so gameplay
GTA
wise.
5 is pretty attractive. Like if you crank it all the way up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It looks good, but
Yeah.
it doesn't like make the Division look like fucking, you know, Rust
fair
or
enough.
you know whatever.
Now, speaking about the Division 2, I've heard, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but that your character is not going to be in the second one. Have you guys heard
Well, it's
anything
a
about
second.
that?
It's a different.
It's a
you're
different, yeah, you're a different agent because you're in DC as opposed to New
You
York.
cannot get out of Manhattan. Manhattan is quarantined.
Yep.
Okay.
He's stuck there. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah. Not the
so
same person.
yeah, the gameplay trailer opens up. I gotta admit, I felt like such a fucking retard. The gameplay trailer opens up, and they're in like this tropical forest, and I'm sitting there going,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute, there's no rainforest in fucking DC." And then I realized they're in one of the fucking museums, and I was like, "Oh, now I feel stupid," because I like seen one of the plaques or something. I was like, "Oh Jesus." So yeah, we got, as I said, got to see a little bit of the gameplay. It looks like the characters aren't quite as bullet spongy, but that being said, the characters you first see them fighting in that trailer are red health
they're
bar,
reds.
which is
They're
you know
not, they're
basic.
not purple. They're not purples.
And
They're not yellows.
they're the same level as the character that's fighting them. The character in that trailer is level 30, which is max level, and the AI is level 30. Now in the first division, the AI can be like level 32, level
Yeah, I
33,
hated that.
34, shit like that. You know, they out level beyond what you can get to just raise their health. So that's one reason that the characters don't look as spongy, because they're equal level and they're reds. And then you see him fight a yellow. Now, the one thing I did like about this, yes, the yellow dude was a huge bullet sponge, but he at least had a fuck ton of armor. I mean, he looked like fucking Tachanka from Rainbow Six. Like, I mean, full on ballistic
Lord.
armor head to toe.
That's Lord Tachanka.
Yep.
So I liked that, and they had to, shoot his armor off to weaken him, and then they were able to take him down. So I like seeing that. Whether or not every enemy, that's yellow and purple and shit, are going to be up armored like that, I kind of doubt it. I hope it is, but I doubt it. And yes, like Liquid just pointed out, there were guys like that in Division. There were guys that carried ballistic shields and shit that they would deploy and fire a fucking M60 from behind. So again, I hope that it's going to be more like that, where those big, tough enemies are up armored and you can see all of this ballistic armor that they're wearing. That, again, kind of helps that intake from your eyes go, okay, yes, this makes sense. I can understand why this guy takes fucking 50, 60 rounds from a 5.56. It's still a little bit out there, but, when you look at, like, one of my favorite photos of all time on the internet is from those, what's the French special police? Is it
Gigan?
Geigen, whatever. Yeah,
GIGN.
GIGN. When those GIGN went into that French theater where those guys took those hostages, you ever seen the photo of the Point Man's shield?
No.
The Point Man had to have been built like a fucking meat mountain, because this ballistic shield is a full, like, 6-foot ballistic shield, like one of those big, huge bastards. And it had every bit of 30 to 40 bullet impacts in it, and never failed. I mean, he tanked every one of those fucking rounds with that ballistic shield. I mean, just a mind-boggling photo to look at, to realize that those are live rounds hitting that shield, and that dude was behind it. And his buddies were behind him like, motherfucker, if you trip, we're dead. So there's enemies like that, like I said, in the First Division. So I'm, again, hoping that the tougher enemies are up armored, but I'm kind of doubting it. In terms of the rest of the gameplay, it's almost identical to the First Division. It's still, cover based, an outstanding cover system. I still to this day say that the Division has the best cover system of any game. The only thing that comes close to it is Mass Effect 3. And the only reason that the Division outdoes Mass Effect 3 is the movement from cover to cover, and that you can, look around and see exactly the path that your character is going to take, and just hold down the space bar and move from one piece of cover to the next. It's a very, very fucking intuitive system and works very well. So I love that. That system is back. Now, the biggest problem with the Division is the end game. The First Division pretty famously didn't really have dick all at end game. You hit max level, and that was pretty much it. You can grind for some gear, but there wasn't anything to do with the new gear.
You do dailies, you do your weeklies, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do your challenge missions. That's what you would do. You would do the same story missions that you already did. They're just harder every day.
And now they've added, incursions and other, missions and stuff like that, and stuff that you need more people for. You need 4 people for these missions and stuff. Like I said, I hopped in there and checked it out. They added quite a bit of stuff, which is nice to see. Now, this one, the new one, the Division 2, once you hit max level, you can then go into a specialization. There's 1 of 3 specializations that basically gives you a special weapon that you can use, and I'm guessing a special ability as well. Now, the weapons, there's a crossbow that fires some type of like exploding bolt or poisonous bolt or something, which is fucking lame. Like, cocksuckers watch too much Walking Dead. The next one it's stupid. Like, dude, I've got guys with fucking machine guns and grenade launchers and shit. You're gonna give me a crossbow? Like, fucking what? Next one is a 6-round 40mm grenade launcher, which will be what I end up fucking taking. And then the third one is sniper specialization, where he's basically got some type of fucking 50 cal sniper. Looks like a GMG Lynx or something that's been like modified with a collapsible stock and stuff like that. But I don't know, when it was in the gameplay that I watched, like when he's firing that thing, it's like it has fucking explosive rounds or something. It acts more like a fucking 20mm anti-tank rifle than it does a fucking 50mm or a 50 caliber sniper rifle. So I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but basically it's a big, huge, powerful fucking sniper rifle. So you've got those 3 specializations you can work on. I'm sure there'll also be incursions and raids and stuff like that now, because they've got the system all set up for it. They know how to do that, thanks to them doing that with the First Division. But the setting is probably the biggest change. Like we said just a little bit ago, in the first one, takes place in New York, primarily on Manhattan. You do a little bit at the start in Brooklyn, and then you move to Manhattan, and it's in the winter. And you get snowstorms and blizzards and fog and stuff like that. Absolutely beautiful fucking setting. This one is taking place in DC, and it's in the middle of the summer, so it's much brighter. You don't have snow and stuff like that. We didn't see any rain or anything like that. I'd be interested to know if there's going to be like thunderstorms or anything along those lines. I think that would be pretty cool. But it's going to be in the summer, so we're not all wearing fucking skull caps and huge ass parkas and stuff. So that'll be kind of nice. And then in terms of the, I guess kind of the game itself, they said the release on it is March 14th or March 15th. I can't remember for sure. It was one of those two, either 14th or 15th. And you can sign up for the open beta right now, or sign up for the beta. I don't know. I think it's going to be closed. So if you go to Ubisoft, or hop onto Uplay, or just go to the website, you can sign up for the beta right now. They haven't said when the beta is going to start or anything like that. But if you're interested in it at all, highly recommend going and signing up for that beta. I know I already did. I know Lobster already did. So go sign up for it. Damn well if I get into the beta, I'll be showing it to you guys and giving you my thoughts on it. So that was really the biggest thing, really the only thing that I was impressed by from Ubisoft, and we'll get to why that is here in a second. But I want to ask you guys, I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on Division 2 from what you've seen, past experience with Division 1? I mean, are you excited at all for it? Is it something you're looking forward to? Or are you like, fuck off, Ubisoft can suck all the dicks?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I played, some of the first one, with my husband. I enjoyed it. I like to see what more the division can offer for sure. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in it.
Are we gonna see you playing with Loster? And if he forgets to cover your six, you're just gonna like fucking reach over and throw something at him.
God,
You
no,
piece of shit! You got me killed.
Most likely.
We got into arguments before on like Left 4 Dead and
Fucking catch a slipper to the back of your head. That'll teach you to cover your sector.
yeah, right.
or the times we played in Siege or CS:GO, I just plain just didn't help them.
Don't. She's a sadist. She's a fucking sadist. We used to play Portal. I'll tell you what.
She like slaps the shit out of you. That'll teach you to cover your corner, bitch.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or what she used to do was one of the first games that we ever like played co-op was one of them was Left 4 Dead, but another one was Portal 2.
That's not a good idea. Neither of those are a good idea. What the fuck were you thinking?
She would fuck me over, dude. She would fuck me over all the like. Oh, here's your portal. Go ahead, and then she would just delete it, and I'd have to fucking like, oh. And like, okay, I'm just joking. Go ahead. And then she would delete it. Like, she's a fucking sadist. Like,
And
don't
then
believe
in Siege, he'll ask me to cover him, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm
it. She
kind of
wanders
busy
I'm
off.
right
kind of
now.
busy.
Yeah, she just wanders
Um,
off.
I got
Goes her own way.
terrorists to kill.
so obviously, Lobster, you're fucking interested in it. I mean, you signed up for the beta. We
Yeah, I
were
did.
like signing
And
up for it at the same time.
yeah, we clicked okay. I think at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've made my position on the division with you both on and off the podcast pretty clear. It's a game that I did enjoy. I'm looking forward to the sequel. And so, Ubisoft has this thing with like, um, like Wildlands. Like, you got to play it with a friend.
Yeah,
Like
you have to.
it's just more fun.
That's what
Um,
you have to give Ubisoft credit because at least they're fucking trying to make co-op work.
Yeah, and
And
they're really
they're
there's so
successful.
much co-op. There's a lot of co-op. Ubisoft, with the exception of what Assassin's Creed, and they
Yeah,
tried
Assassin's
co-op.
Creed.
They tried co-op with
Yeah,
Unity.
they gave it a half-ass attempt though. They didn't legit try co-op
Yeah,
yet,
Unity
which
was a
pisses me the
co-op
fuck
game,
off.
sort of.
Well, it's the main campaign wasn't co-op. That was the problem. It was just a
Oh,
bunch of little side mission bullshit. If the main campaign in any one of the fucking Assassin's Creeds, all the way up to the fucking newest one, if any of them
Right.
where the campaign was co-op, it would be fucking outstanding. It would
Oh
completely save
yeah,
the game.
definitely.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to check out Ubisoft. I know Heckman is excited for it. Me and him, we played together pretty much every single night I played that game. We were together. I mean, the two of us had tactical hard-ons for like 2 weeks, going in and clearing buildings and shit together in that game. So I'll definitely be checking out. Hopefully, I get into the beta on that. So let's move on to the next Ubisoft IP that a lot of people seem to be strangely excited for, which is odd to me, and that is the new Assassin's Creed.
I'll leave this for you too, because this is your thing.
Well, the
She
reason.
loves she like you, Brewer. She really likes Origins, like a lot.
Well, then I have to ask you this then, Ren. Did you see the announcement for Odyssey?
Briefly.
So, were you excited for it? Did you look at it like, oh my god, this is fucking great?
It's based off the Greeks mythology now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty interested in it. I was more interested in Origins than anything, but like I said, any Assassin's Creed you throw at me, I'm at
She's
it.
got a big heart on for Egypt.
I love Assassin's Creed, so
Well, the basic premise of it going into Greece and playing a Spartan, like I love that aspect of it. This is not Leonidas Spartan. This is hundreds of years after Leonidas. For
you're
those
right.
of you guys
Yeah.
that don't understand Greek history, Athens, Greece as a whole was broken up into multiple city states, Athens and Sparta and so on.
Yep.
When all of that went down with the 300 Spartans and all of that, that's basically what started to unite Greece as a country, was that. And then that was later broken up. And, Athens was burned to the ground by Xerxes and all of that bullshit. And Athens and Sparta went to war. And this is basically this game takes place during that war, during the Peloponnesian Wars, which is a fucking amazing time in history. I mean, if you're a history buff at all or interested in
Oh yeah.
history, definitely check out that kind of era of the Peloponnesian Wars. So it's a very cool time era to get into in dealing with the Spartans, and I really hope we get to see some legit large scale combat and get to see the phalanx at
No,
work and stuff
you
like
did
that.
see the combat for the trailer, right?
Yeah,
It looked pretty badass.
yeah, I'm hoping to see, because that was more open combat, like because the Spartans were
Right,
very
right, that's
famous
true.
for their formation combat and using the phalanx and the usage of their shields and that famous fucking line from
Yeah.
300 shoulder to
This is
fucking
Sparta.
shoulder to knee. That's
Yeah,
why their
yeah,
shields
that
were
one.
that's why
Right.
their shields were so fucking massive, and it
Yep.
worked because that's why the phalanx worked, is because of how large their shields were. So that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see them go into combat in formation and just,
God, I will
see
love
a
that.
wall of Athens
Right.
soldiers, break against the shields. So again, very cool era of history to go into. Something I'm hugely interested in. The fact that they're using the name Odyssey, and that again harkens back to the Greek peninsula and Athens and Troy and all of that. So, and again, fucking neighbors with their lawnmowers, and I'm gonna end up choking. So I like that aspect of it. What I don't like is looking at the game, and Rain, you'll know this. It looks to me like they took all of their assets from Alexandria and just
Yes.
transported them into the new
Yes.
game.
Exactly.
It's
It's
identical.
basically the same soup warmed over.
Yeah, like, because as you know in Origins, the further on you get in the game, the more like kind of Greek areas
Yep.
you move into.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this game is just all of those areas. It looks
It's basically a
identical to all
remake.
that shit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of disappointing to me. So the to me, it just looks like the exact same fucking game, but with a couple of different characters. That's it.
Right. It's basically a new plot, but same gameplay.
Yeah. Now, they have showed us that you do get your choice of character to play. You can play either a male or a female. You don't get to actually create a character, but you can play a male
Right.
or a female.
Exactly.
And you only play as that character, which is nice, because that did piss me off in Origins, where, I spent all this
Yes.
time
You
with
can
Balak
switch. Right.
and leveling
Right.
him up and getting all these skills, and then you switch over to his wife, and it's like,
What the
okay,
fuck?
like
Yes.
I just got all these fucking skills to make Balak a total badass. Now I'm out here on a
Yes.
fucking boat. Like, fuck off. So it is nice that you're only gonna play as that one character, but I'm very concerned that because Assassin's Creed Origins was a success, now they're going back to that formulaic annual
Right.
game, and they're
Right.
just
Where
going to
they're
try
gonna
and
keep
yeah,
do it over and over.
yeah, and
Right.
they're just going to try and ride that fucking wave of
I
Origins
mean,
and cash
they
in on it.
will definitely, because it's money. It's a money grabber.
Mm-hmm.
Why change something if it is not broken?
Right.
Has Assassin's Creed traditionally followed the same trend as like Call of Duty or Madden, where yes, it's just another coat of paint on the same house, but
It didn't used to be.
right, I know that, but like I know that because 2 was different, and then
Right.
Brotherhood was like better than 2, and then once you hit, then 3 was different, but it was, and then 4, but like
Well, no,
4 was completely different. 4 was
yeah,
like shouldn't have been an Assassin's Creed game. I'll say that. Like
yeah, they could have
4,
pasted any name
4
on
should have
it.
been called like Shiver Me Timbers or something.
God, I know exactly.
But like, is it where have they reached a point where they could just keep basically releasing the same game and it sells better than the previous one? Because Call of Duty consistently, even though it's the same game, they sell every Call of Duty game does better than the last one. It sells more copies.
I don't think so.
No.
They can't,
No.
because like when AC4 came out, a lot of people praised it because it was something different. It was a new
Right.
game. It had ship combat, stuff like that. It introduced new mechanics to the game that we had never seen before. And then Assassin's Creed Unity, or no, not Unity. What the fuck was this last one? With the brother and sister. I can't even remember the fucking name of it. I've tried playing it like 5 or 6 times. I get an hour in and shut it off every time. But that was very much so the standard. Okay, this is the formula that we know works. Climb these towers, assassinate these people, jump into these hay bales. This works. We're back on fucking rooftops. Like, it was their normal formulaic strategy, and everybody it was like universally hated. It was one of the worst selling Assassin's Creed games. So that's why Syndicate, that's it. So that's why when Origins came out, everybody was like, oh, holy shit, because they took a couple years off and created this whole new game that is massive, multiple different, biome types, and, you know, very interesting combat. The open combat was kind of meh, but you had actual gear that you could get and upgrade and had different abilities and stuff like that. So it was very much so a completely different game from what we had seen before. But it still had all the great mechanics of the free running and the puzzle solving and things like that that everybody loves from Assassin's Creed. So now going into this next one, I didn't see a single thing added that isn't in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Right, exactly.
There's not
From the horses to the open
yeah,
world to
the
everything.
boat combat, it's all
yeah.
the exact same as what was in Origins. That hopefully, and I hate to say this because I want a new Assassin's Creed, I want to play another
So do
Assassin's
I.
Creed game, but hopefully if this game is like that, I hope it fails miserably. So they realize, like, oh shit, that wasn't a fluke with Syndicate. We just can't make the same game 2 years in a row and expect people to fucking buy it.
Right. I hope so, because as much as with Origins, you know, it got a great following. You know, I loved it extremely. But with this new Assassin's Creed, I really hope, like you said, that they don't make the same mistake of, oh, hey, we're making money off for Origins. Maybe people will like this one, and then you continue until like this is a joke, you know, Assassin's Creed Caveman Edition, where it's the same thing, open world, same combat, you know, etc.
Right. Um, yeah, I know a lot of people were hoping for like feudal Japan for this
That would
next
be pretty
Assassin's
cool.
Creed. I think that
Yeah,
would be fucking awesome. Like, you don't even need to be a straight up assassin. You can just be a fucking ninja.
right. That'd be awesome.
You know, I think that'd be great. And maybe if this one fucking crashes and burns, maybe that's what we'll get. They'll take a couple years off yet again and say, okay, we gotta fucking start from scratch again.
Right, remap and start over.
Yeah, let's at least try and use some new fucking assets, and or
Or
at
at
least
least
try and
add
mask
something
them a
new
little
to
bit
the
better.
game.
Yeah, it's just I
I
didn't
mean, you
see.
know, it's typical like of video games to, you know, replay themselves once they make enough money. You know, you use the same soup over and over, but at least add things to keep the player interested.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's ag- they just it looks like the exact same
It
fucking
does.
game.
It really
It's just
does, dude.
if you go look at even the graphics wise,
The
like visual
graphics,
wise, it's the
yes,
exact same game. And
it's
granted,
the same game.
I wouldn't expect them to make like fucking leaps and bounds and like, oh my god, this looks like
Of
a
course,
completely new game, because Origins looks great. It's on a
it
great
really
engine.
does.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it's the exact same buildings, the exact same drapes. Like, it's just it's so fucking annoying.
Same riding the horse and
Yeah.
calling your bird.
Yeah, same anime. Yeah, like they have like what's
You
with the
know,
fucking eagle thing now? Like, come
I
on.
hate the ego.
I
I
know, like
seriously do.
fucking Senyu was the one thing I disliked about the goddamn game. I'm
Same
like,
here.
fuck the fucking
Same
eagle,
here.
man.
I'm so glad that I have someone to agree with.
Like,
I
that
hated that thing.
thing is fucking useless. Like, what? Okay, I can't land with the bird. Like, does this thing have broken feet or something? Like, is he like a seagoing bird that just sleeps while he's in the air? Like, what
What's
the
wrong
fuck?
with just eagle vision? You know, we don't
Yeah.
need an ego to capitalize on eagle vision.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was, I guess, that's kind of my thoughts on what Ubisoft showed us this year. Are this time around, they didn't show or announce anything in terms of Wildlands 2, which I'm fine with that because we're getting, you know, Division 2, which is basically Wildlands with beefier enemies, and hopefully no drones with small group of tangos. So moving on from Ubisoft, let's fucking talk about the other douchebags. What do we got from EA? I know they announced some new fucking Star Wars game that everybody's freaking out, like making a big deal about the fact that you get to play as a Jedi. You've gotten to play as a fucking
Oh
Jedi in like
God.
every Star Wars game ever fucking made. Like, I don't know why
What,
this is
what
in the
planet are you on?
headline of every one of your fucking stories. But so what did EA announce this year? Because I didn't watch it mostly
Uh,
because fuck them.
so that EA was Friday. It was the first press conference. and they opened with Battlefield, which
Meh.
why don't we come back to Battlefield, because that is
Sure.
that's
Yeah,
a
that's a topic
it's a
in
big
itself.
it's a big game. I mean, you can't deny it that it is a big game, and there is like there's a bit of a controversy around Battlefield,
Yeah, there
and
is.
but we'll come back to Battlefield. EA also this we'll talk about this, I guess, Brewer. Is I mean their biggest
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
There was a couple of little games in there here and there. They talked about
Hitman?
No, Hitman is not EA. Hitman is
Oh
IO.
no, sorry, my bad.
But we will talk about Hitman though. But they came out. I'm getting off track here. They came out and talked about Battlefront 2 after they did Battlefield. When they did Battlefront 2, one of the dudes who made the game came out and he was like, "Hey guys, yeah, Battlefield 2, like, I'm paraphrasing, but Battlefront 2
It
was
sucked
like
dick.
shit, and we're sorry about that. But here, we're gonna make it better, and here's some new maps, and here's some new characters." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm not gonna play it, but that's cool that they came out in front of the entire internet, the entire world, and said that."
Mhm.
But here's where it went bad for me. He's like, "Oh, we have 4 new characters that you can play, 4 new heroes." I'm like, 4 new heroes,
I
2 new
did.
heroes, and 2 new villains.
I did see a short video of that, and I was
And
laughing so fucking
he's like,
hard.
"Here's a new villain, is General Grievous." I'm like, "Okay, cool, General Grievous. He's got 4 lightsabers. That's pretty cool. Like, that'd be kind of cool to run around with 4 lightsabers, whizzing around and shit." And then the other villain was Count Dooku,
Yeah,
which like,
the video I seen of that was like making fun of the fact that nobody clapped for Count Dooku, and it's like,
yeah,
dude, you do realize, like, aside from people that have checked out the extended universe that consists of fucking too many books, comics, and cartoons and animations and stuff like that, the only thing people know Count Dooku from is those
is
horrible fucking
episode
movies
2.
that all of us want to
Yeah,
forget.
it's
So
episode 2, and then in episode 3
yeah,
he
it's
dies.
like it's not that surprising that nobody clapped for him.
I
Right,
wonder
exactly.
I wonder if they're gonna use like Christopher Lee's likeness for Count Dooku. I'd assume they would. And then they're like, for the heroes, like, okay, 2 new heroes. Obi-Wan. I'm like, okay, I didn't know Obi-Wan wasn't in the game. Why wouldn't he fucking be in the game? But I guess he wasn't in the game. And then the other hero, it's fucking Anakin Skywalker. I I had to leave the room when I heard that. Like, I'm not even gonna play this game, but I'm definitely not gonna play it now because I might accidentally become Anakin.
The thing I want to know is, obviously I don't think they have any, like, well, they might have face scans and stuff of Christopher Lee. I don't know if they used them for like any animated shit or stuff like that, but I want to know if they used face scans for Hayden Christensen. Like, did they call him up and be like, "Hey, buddy, want to come do some mocap?
You want to come be Anakin again?
You know that one role that you'll always be remembered for and basically ruined your life? You want to come do it again?" Yeah, Anakin fucking Skywalker. It wouldn't
If
be
there
that
was
bad if he
ever,
wasn't made to be such a bitch in the other movies.
yeah, well, if there was ever a more like no one gives a shit about character, it has to be Anakin. Like, if there was ever like a more like, ugh,
Yeah,
fuck this person character, it's
Right,
gotta be
right.
Anakin.
yeah. All right, so that was the Star Wars news. You got fucking 4 new characters for Battlefront
Yeah.
2
So
that
yeah, I don't think we've
nobody
spent
gives a
enough
fuck
time on
about,
Star
anyways.
Wars. Yeah, I think we've
Uh,
spent way too much time on that. I
okay,
apologize.
let's let's kind of quickly talk about the fucking our game that they have uh, legally killed at this fucking point.
Which
And that is CNC.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
explain to everyone what happened there while I go
Okay,
fucking
so
threaten a neighbor.
for the kids that are watching and listening, Command and Conquer is a franchise that was one of the first, not the first, but one of the first RTS games that ever existed. Came out in 93, 94, something like that, and has had a legacy of title after title after title of great RTS games. There have been some hit misses here and there, but for the most part, it is a legend of a franchise in the hearts and minds of PC gamers that enjoyed RTS games. Um, Unfortunately, StarCraft kind of took over their pedestal, but Westwood back in the 2001, I think, or 2000, and ever since then, EA has owned the rights to Command and Conquer, and it shows because Command and Conquer 3 was a good game, but I think that's because Westwood had more creative liberties. I think that was a game that they were probably already making before EA kind of showed up, so they got to make their game, and then CNC4 happened, which was the death of the franchise. So fast forward, CNC4 was what, 2010, 2011, something like that.
Fuck, I don't even know.
Fast forward like half a decade, and the only mention that you'll ever get for fucking Command and Conquer now is a mobile game. It's a mobile game that's like fucking Clash Royale or whatever the fuck, where you had two players, and here's what really pissed me off, Brewer. This really pissed me off. They bring these two dudes on stage with their fucking tablets or their smartphones or whatever, and they're introducing them like they're world-renowned strategy game players. Like they're they're just they're brilliant tacticians that know the ins and outs of every command. They're playing Clash Royale on a fucking phone basically with a CNC reskin. So, and the only thing Command and Conquer about that game is the fact that there's a fucking Tiberium harvester.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen them like get a hold of like Master Leaf or Bike Rush or one of those guys, like the guys that legit professionally still play CNC, and be like, hey, you want to come demo our new game? No, fuck off. It's a piece of shit.
If there ever was a franchise that I wish would just fall into obscurity and get auctioned off so that a real studio can buy it and really give it the love that it deserves, it's fucking Command and Conquer. I wish that it would get sold. I wish EA would let that shit go so someone else can take it and actually do something with it. But they're not going to now.
And it would make a good mobile game. I mean, look at PUBG. It looks great on mobile. It plays good on mobile.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they capitalize on that?
Yeah, like a legit CNC game could definitely be played on mobile.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean for us who are fans of CNC. I mean, it's been dead for a long time. Like Loster
really
said,
has.
you know, it's been dead since CNC4. In terms of CNC3, yes, that was already in development when EA bought Westwood, and there was actually a whole lot of fucking hoopla, because I know you've seen the Gamers documentary on it, but there was a bunch of hoopla about CNC3 because oh fuck, what's his face? The guy that plays Kane, they didn't want him like to do the live action shit for the game, and Westwood was like, he is Kane. He's the only person that's ever played that character. We can't just recast Kane.
He's been Kane for over a decade,
right?
You know, like who would do that? Take a fucking beloved character and change his voice? Fucking Konami, Snake, idiots.
So yeah, it's completely dead now. I mean, it's full on Clash of Clans mobile fucking bullshit. But I mean, I legit do believe, like, if they wanted to go the mobile route, that's fine. You could still make the, traditional style CNC work on a mobile platform. It could work on a fucking Nintendo Switch. It works on consoles. The originals were released on console, and it still could be on PC. It's one of those that I hate to see it happen, because CNC has been a part of my gaming life for a very, very long time. I mean, it was like, Christ, when did the first one come out? It was like 93, 94, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 93, I want to say.
And then, you had covert assault or covert operations and, so on and so forth. And I mean, myself and my brother were beta testers for Westwood. I was just talking about this with Loster last night. Back then, to become a beta tester, like you had to send in an application that was a little fucking, basically a postcard with all of your information and detailing like how much gaming you do, how many hours you game, and what your favorite genre of games are, and this and that. What systems do you currently own and everything. And then you would get an actual physical letter back saying, you know, congratulations, you've been accepted to Westwood's beta program, so on and so forth. You'll be hearing from us. Expect your first copy of our upcoming game, you know, whenever. And then a few weeks or month or two later, disc would fucking show up in the mail, and it would just have a very basic fucking sticker on the front of it saying, you know, CNC project number whatever, and you put it in, and here's Command and Conquer Tiberium Sun, and you know, you get to play a couple of the missions for each faction, and then you get to play skirmish on I think at that time when we got Tiberium Sun there was 6 maps. There was a couple of 2v2, there was 2 4v4, and then there was 2 6v6, I believe. And you got to do skirmishes on those maps only, and you got to use like half to maybe 75% of the units for each faction. And you just played the fuck out of the game. And, you know, if there was a bug or a problem or a unit felt unbalanced or whatever, you'd write it down in a notebook, and then you'd fucking eventually actually write up a letter and send it back to them with the disc saying, you know, these are the problems I found, this is how it happened, this is how you recreate it, these are the units that, you know, are overpowered against this, there's no balance to this, so on and so forth. This unit, I believe the price is too high, you know, this faction's harvester is harvesting Tiberium quicker than the other units, so on, you know, shit like that. It wasn't like now where a beta test is just a glorified early access to the game. You know, you don't, I mean, nobody fucking beta tests like you did back then, where you actually provide feedback for the game. Now, like, you play a beta, and if they ask for, you know, ask you to fill out a questionnaire at the end, you're like, yeah, fuck off, and just, you know, close out of it. You know, back then, like, you couldn't do that. Like, you don't send their shit back, they're going to be getting a hold of you because you have EA's property. Like, you don't send a fucking letter back saying, hey, these are my thoughts on it. You're going to be removed from the beta program, and you're not going to get to play any more of their games. So yeah, I'm very upset to, you know, see Command and Conquer kind of killed off. Definitely killed off now. So continuing on with EA. They showed us some more of Anthem. Now, granted, the biggest chunk of gameplay that they showed us had a bunch of fucking idiots with verbal diarrhea just running their cock holster over top of it the entire time. And it's just like, would you shut the fuck up and let me watch the actual gameplay? I don't care about your input. Just let me see the game. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when we were talking about the Division 2, and me and Loster talked about this last night, would Ubisoft please, for the love of all that is fucking holy, stop doing this fucking scripted dialogue shit for their gameplay trailers?
Oh god, I hate that.
It sounds so fucking forced and just retarded. Like,
I mentioned that myself when I was watching it a couple days ago with some friends. Like, it sounded so fake. Like, who in their right mind sounds so calm during gameplay?
Exactly.
Like, I would be raging. Get your, you know, blah 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 out there.
It doesn't sound like fun is being had. It doesn't sound like fun.
No, because they're reading from a fucking script, and it's like,
you can tell.
I understand.
The trailer.
You know, I understand you want these people to sound like they're being tactical and know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. Like, I understand that. Then get some fucking people that actually have some tactical knowledge and know the verbiage and the language that's used and the context in which it's used. And the level of excitement when it's used.
Right.
Like, dude, go fucking find like 4 vets hanging out down at the VA and toss the dudes $100 each and say, hey, come in and record a couple hours worth of dialogue for a gameplay for us.
Right.
I don't care that it's scripted, but have somebody that sounds legit doing it. You know, and like like you said, who the fuck is that calm in that kind of situation? Nobody
I
is,
would not be
you know?
at all. I was so
And
pissed off.
I mean, granted, you know, it's Ubisoft. They don't want people dropping F-bombs left and right and shit in their
Of
gameplay
course,
trailer. Of
it
course,
makes
you
it
know, that's
sound
not a problem.
realistic.
But again,
Right.
I'm fine with it being scripted, but just put some fucking effort into it, you know? And
Put some emotion into it.
yeah, and they don't sound legitimate, even though it's scripted and they're using correct verbiage. It just doesn't sound legit because you can just tell that that style of language is foreign to them.
Right.
They don't know what the fuck any of that means that they're actually saying, you know, or they might have a rough idea. And that's just annoying to me. Like people have said multiple times, like, you know, they should hire you guys to do trailers like that. Like when fucking Wildlands came out, they were like, you guys could have done the trailer so much better for that. And it's like, yeah, we could, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's a pain in the
That's
dick for them to.
thing. They should pay.
Yeah, that's my thought. Is, you know, I'm not saying that we necessarily should do it. Yeah, I think we. And well, it'd be hard for me not to tell somebody to go fuck themselves in the middle of a trailer, but you know, they could fucking easily go down to the VA and fucking put a couple of guys to work for a week and be like, hey, you know, you want to make $1,000 this week? Come down to the fucking studio and record some lines for us. You know, oh, you did 2 tours and now you're medically retired and living off of, you know, fucking $700 a month. Well, come on down. We're gonna fucking double that money for you this month. Like,
That's a brilliant
it's
idea.
not a hard concept to fucking, you know, to get. So yeah, I wish they would just fucking, you know, figure something out with that. But back to Anthem. Obviously, this is, you know, EA's direct fucking answer to Destiny. You know, it's almost an exact clone of Destiny. And to me, that's not a bad thing. I actually liked Destiny 2. I played it for a while with Hammer and Burke, and had a lot of fun with it. It's just again, like the Division, there was just nothing to do at the end game except grind and grind and grind to get your gear level up for content that wasn't even fucking out yet, which really pissed me off because the content was there. They were just waiting to drop it as fucking DLC, and I cannot stand that. But that's all there was to do, was just grind gear to get ready for the DLC. And I hated that. Hopefully Anthem doesn't make that same mistake. And also Anthem has 4-player co-op instead of 3-player co-op, which is nice.
It looks really good, trailer-wise.
Oh god, yeah. It fucking
I've
amazing
honestly,
looking game.
personally never played it, but I hope. Yeah, I'm a Halo fan, you know, so I see some trademarks that's and Anthem that I can relate to Halo for me, you know, because I've never played it before. So like the suits, the customization, the categories that each suit is in,
Oh
the
yeah.
gameplay. I love that personally.
Yeah,
So
I dug that, you know, the different classes have different style of armor. You know, I've already fucking like talked about it multiple times that I love the big fucking tank dude that's got a shield that he
Dude,
pulls
that
out and
looks
starts
so
running
badass.
through the fucking minefield. I was like, that is
Yes.
fucking awesome. That is my guy. So I like the look of it. The story of it, I don't even really know. Like, I don't really fucking care all that much when I'm in that kind of setting. Like when I'm playing with 3 of my buddies, I could give a fuck less what the story is. Like, I'm just there to hang out, have fun, and shoot shit.
Kick ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might be like kind of. I mean, I know it's EA, so they gotta like tell a story. It's a big game, so it's gotta have some type of like thread line.
Yeah.
But I think that like on the whole, that you're just mercenaries that like because that's kind of emphasized in the game, in the trailer, in the show that we got was some of the narration.
Yeah,
some
you're
of
just
the
taking contracts.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I'm not loyal. I don't give a shit about factions. I don't give a shit about. I'm not some soldier fighting for my honor and for my kingdom or for my leader or my ruler or whatever. I just pay me. Fuck you, pay me. I'll blow up whatever you want me to blow up. I don't care.
Yeah, it's fucking Mercenaries from the Xbox.
That was a great game.
God, it was a great game.
But yeah, I obviously, if there's a good story, I'll be happy. But like I had said before, Heckman had mentioned in the chat a while back that Anthem only needs to be like 50% as good as what everybody expects because it's got co-op. When you look at like fucking what's that one we just played, State of Decay 2. Game was buggy as fuck. I mean, it's a buggy piece of shit. But I had fun with it because there was four of us
I
playing.
want to play that so much.
Supposedly it's been fixed. Well, I had a 20 gig
20 gigabyte
fucking
patch,
patch
yeah.
to fix all of the bugs and problems and stuff. So supposedly a lot of it's been fixed, which is nice. But we've already beat it. We've already played all through it, and I have no want to go back and play it again. But even with the bugs and problems and stuff, I still had a fucking ton of fun playing it because I was playing with my buddies. So, Anthem being, even if it's a polished piece of shit, I'm still going to have fun because I'm playing with my buddies. Again, it's the same thing as with the Division. There was the problems that the Division had, but I had 2 fucking weeks of great fun with my friends. Well worth the $60 that I dropped on the game. So, Anthem is probably the one I'm most hyped for right now. It's actually kind of a toss-up for me right now between Anthem and Division 2. Like, those two are probably my front runners right now in terms of what I've seen at E3. So, what else did EA show aside
That stupid
from
yarn game? The
what?
yarn co-op game
Oh yeah,
about togetherness and how you find your soulmate and you wonder how
thought
you
that was a
live
load
without
of
him all these
crap.
years.
Load of crap. Like, get that crap out of here.
Yeah, that just looks like a game that's made to fucking for a husband and wife and sit down and play, and
Or
then
a
they
husband
get
and husband.
No.
or
No.
they get like pissed off because they realize their relationship isn't that good, and now they have to go to counseling because of a fucking video game, and yeah, that's just
I
problems
tell you,
that don't need to be there.
if Roster brought that game home, I would throw it at him.
It's a digital game.
Just
Wouldn't
throw the
be the
computer
first
at
game.
them.
Wouldn't be the first time.
All right, so
I guess we gotta let's talk about the elephant in the room. I guess get it out the way. Battlefield.
Battlefield.
D- so I've just recently kind of taken a liking to Battlefield 1. I kind of like I always kind of dismissed it. I have Battlefield 3.
can you
I
throw
have
something at
Battlefield
him
4.
for me?
Just listen, okay? All right, I don't.
Just beat him around the head and neck area until he stops breathing.
You're really old. I don't want to hear it. I own 3. I own 4. I skipped Hardline, but then I got 1. And I just recently kind of started liking it a little bit. I've been getting some kills. I've been actually like having fun playing it. But that being said, 5. I watched Jack Frags got to play some of it, and he posted his footage. And I mean, it's a Battlefield game. I mean, it looks like Battlefield 1 with World War II weapons.
Battlefield 1 looked like Battlefield 1 with World War II weapons.
World War II weapons. Yeah, that's a good point. Like modified World War II weapons. I mean,
running around
honestly,
with a fucking Thompson gun that was a fucking Tommy gun that wasn't even fucking released in World War One. Like it wasn't even finished until after the armistice was fucking signed.
Yeah, that's why there weren't any deployed. But I want to try it. I think it's kind of cool. So I think what they're going for here is their single player segment is going to be a bunch of stories. I think what they're getting at is, hey, there's stories of soldiers and tales of valor and combat of people you never fucking heard of. So we're going to tell those stories in single player. And I think that's where the whole like the female part comes in. Like your main character is a chick in some of these campaigns, some of these stories, because there were chicks that did things during World War II on the combat front. You had French resistance, you had Russians, shit like that, blah blah blah. But, and just let me get this out of the way, people are still losing their fucking minds because people are furious with EA because you can be a female in like Battlefield 5 multiplayer.
Right.
And I would like people to first of all stop being so like this phony outrage about it. And because yes, yes, there were no women in the United States Armed Forces on the front lines of combat in World War II, or the British, or the Germans. I understand that. However, Battlefield has never been a game that boasted for realism. Like they never did. Because if they did, then you wouldn't be fucking jumping out of planes, parachuting
Right, exactly.
like
Mm.
from the pilot seat, parachuting down into fucking the middle of a
Yeah.
skyscraper, and then blowing it up with C4. Like it's
I
just
completely agree with all of that. Like the yes, women were in combat very predominantly in Russia and in the French Resistance, and some of them, I mean, amazing fucking tales.
yes.
Didn't they fucking drop the line of "This is the most authentic World War II experience to date" at E3
No,
this year?
they said immersive,
Immersive,
and
okay.
I think that word might be. I think we've kind of ruined that word, Brewer, because we're in a milsim unit, and for us, immersion equals realism, and I just don't. I don't think that that's what EA is going for. I don't think that when they use the word immersive, that they're saying you're going to feel like you're in combat. I think Call of Duty tried to boast that
That's what
this is going to
immersion is,
be.
though. That's like the legitimate. That's like the definition of the word is to feel like you're actually
Yeah,
experiencing it.
to feel like you're actually there, but that doesn't mean that it has to be historically accurate. Because there's games that are fiction, that are utterly purely fiction, that are immersive. Like you know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you know what I mean. So that's how I look at it. Like I'm not looking for realism. I'm not looking
Right.
for like at least not from Battlefield.
To
If you play Battlefield, you're expecting realism. You're out of your fucking mind.
See,
Most
right.
I've had that issue, like I told you today, with this kid who decided to make a rage post on YouTube about it, about his dislike of EA. First of all, tweeting that if you do not like the game, do not buy it. He made a post about that, and that it's about females. Now, what I told him was that EA is a business, first of all. Second of all, it's a game. It's not supposed to be historically accurate. You can make it that way, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, females, myself, we do not have the chance of playing as a female character in most games.
right.
Usually we have to play as a male. They're
It's all right. Most
capitalizing
males play
money
as a female when
wise.
they get a choice to.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of female players out there now, and EA, I think, is trying to capitalize on that fact that hey, there's female players out there. They're buying these games. Let's reach out to them. Let's reach out to people that are a different color, etc. You know what I mean? Like it's business. They're reaching out to as many people as they can grab. It's not about being accurate. It's about reaching people and getting more money out of them, basically.
Mm.
At
Yeah.
least in my
And
opinion.
and you're not wrong, by the way. I mean, EA or not no, not EA rather, but I mean Dice has the president or whatever the fuck, the face of Dice or whatever has literally tweeted that yeah, girls play our games too.
Mm-hmm.
So and females make up like I think said that last week. Females make
Right.
up like almost half
Yeah, it's like
of the fucking
46%.
gaming. Yeah. So why not? When you just by simply adding an additional gender, by simply adding the ability to create female characters, you're going to potentially double your fucking sales. You're going to potentially double
Exactly.
your consumers
Exactly.
because the other half of the people that play video games are females.
Mm-hmm.
So and this whole like I don't understand this. Like what's happening is that people are saying that EA is like on some type of fucking they're crumbling to like pressure from social justice warriors, and they're crumbling from pressure from like the super far left, blah blah blah. And it's
They're
like
crumbling from pressure of all the fucking bank that they're about to make.
right.
Exactly.
I can't. There are examples of I think things that do that. I think that the most recent like Star Wars example of that, not the games, the movies like The Last Jedi and Solo are examples of like Disney saying, well, there's too many white people in here. The internet's pissed off about it, so
Yeah,
we're just
let's
gonna
mix it up a little
add
bit.
we're just gonna add other genders, or we're gonna add fucking people that aren't any
Right,
gender, or
right.
they're not any sexual orientation. It doesn't have any bearing on the story, but they're that, just so that we can check that box off. And I don't think that's what
For
EA is doing here.
no, neither do I. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just simple fucking business, really. For like Battlefield, for this, I don't really give a shit in terms of
Sure.
like accuracy, because they're not, like you said, they're not trying to depict a real situation. This is not,
Right.
they're not saying, this
Exactly.
is so and so from such and such unit and this is his story. They're not trying to do that. This is not Battlefield fucking 2 or, anything like that. This isn't, Medal of Honor Allied Assault.
Right.
It's a
Oh,
completely
what game
different
that was.
thing. And it's almost like not necessarily an alternate reality like Wolfenstein is, but you kind of have to look at it that way. Where
Right.
I
The
had a
sandbox,
problem, and it's not even with Battlefield, it's with Call of Duty, is with the last Call of Duty, Call of Duty World War II, when you're depicting a real life unit, the first AD, probably the most famous fucking infantry unit in the entirety of US military history, next to the 7th Cav, just because of Custer. Like, the first AD were some of the most heroic fucking men that this planet has ever seen. And the people at fucking Treyarch, or whoever the fuck does Call of Duty now, like,
Treyarch, yeah.
they owed it to those guys to tell the true story of what the first AD did in World War II. Because it is a legitimate, harrowing fucking story. From the day those guys hit the beach in Normandy, and even before that, when they were fighting in fucking North Africa, when they were fighting in Sicily, and then when they hit fucking Omaha Beach and had the toughest fight of any of them, and then finally broke out and got inland in France and started fighting their way to Germany. Like, the Big Red One, again, there's a reason it's the most well-known fucking U.S. Army unit. And for them to turn it into a fucking arcade rail shooter where you derail a fucking train with a Willys Jeep, it's like, you pieces of shit should be ashamed for dishonoring the fucking guys that were actually in the first AD. Granted, the guys that were actually in the first AD don't give a fuck, but it's the fucking principle of it. Like, those guys were amazing fucking human beings, and you made it out like they were in a fucking Mission Impossible movie.
Right. Their story is enough as it is. Like,
Yeah.
just what really happened is exciting enough as it is, without having to add all your fucking stupid tropes in there that you have to like shimmy in. Oh, it's too many dudes here. We need a fucking chick in here. Okay, well, let's make him a fucking special, like a spy unit now. Let's throw him in a fucking spy squad, and this chick will be in charge because there's just too many dudes here. Let it be all fucking dudes. It's fucking front lines of combat in Europe. Like, what did you? There's no chicks here.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. So I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but on the front lines of combat, when the Allied forces were sweeping down France, trying to get to fucking Holland and get to Germany, sorry, there weren't any fucking chicks wearing American uniforms shooting at the Germans. Sorry, like, that's just how it was. And that whole story in and of itself is exciting enough as it is without you fucking it up. Like, the Band of Brothers is a good example. They
Yeah.
didn't. They do take some liberties. There is a little bit of Hollywood here and there, and there are a couple of straight up factual errors, like Albert Blythe didn't fucking die.
Yeah.
When he didn't.
Well, that was
shit
failure.
like-
That was failure research on the book's part.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they were going off of what knowledge they had from the book. Granted, HBO or fucking
It's
Tom
I
and
can't believe
Steve
they
should
let
have
that one
fucking
go.
looked into it, but still.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is that like that those stories that the 101st Airborne told, that Dick Winters, that the members of Easy Company told, were
We're good
just
enough to
based
be
off
one of the
yeah,
highest rated TV shows of all time.
yeah, and with a little bit of Hollywood here and there, but at their core, they didn't really have to change anything.
No, and that's why, like, this Battlefield, I might end up checking it out just to play the campaign because the only thing I've ever played from Battlefield is the campaigns. And like Battlefield 4's campaign, fucking outstanding. I love it. It takes its
Remember it.
liberties.
Is it the one with Omar
or,
from
Yep.
from The Wire?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, okay. And I did play it.
So I might end up checking it out for the campaign. I wanted to check out Battlefield 1 for the campaign, but the more and more I've seen from the multiplayer and seeing all these machine guns and shit, and I'm just like, dude, if they do that in the campaign, all it's going to do is piss me the fuck off. And so I never bothered.
I will say this: my wife and I got really excited for the same thing. We were watching the Battlefield thing, and the fucking tank drives through the house.
Yeah, through the
and we're
house,
like,
that was fucking epic.
We both do the same thing, like, oh, look at the snow. The snow's coming up the roof.
Yeah.
And we both got excited for that same stupid detail.
For that, like especially for World War II, like if you want the hyper realistic setting, Postscriptum is getting ready to drop any fucking day now.
Hell Let Loose is another one.
Yep. So it's basically Squad in a World War
Red
II
Orchestra
skin.
2.
So Battlefield, I'm okay with them taking their liberties as far as what units were actually there and stuff like that, because they're not touting it. They're not saying this guy is a member of First AD or 101st PIR or whatever, or 101st AD and shit like that. So that's okay. My concern, and hopefully they won't have this problem, because World War II has a fuck ton of weapons, and many of them are automatic, so they can please all the fucking 12-year-old kids.
It's just gonna be all SMGs.
Right. So I'm hoping we don't end up seeing things that just were never used in World War II, like we see in Battlefield 1. I don't want to, but at the same time, I don't want to be playing the fucking Battlefield 5 campaign and be hitting the beaches of Normandy and picking up a Russian fucking PPSH. Like, fucking Christ, come on, dude.
I don't know how they let that go. I don't know how you justify that at all.
Like,
I'm supposed to believe that like Russian conscripts got shipped. I mean, it did happen, but like Russian conscripts with Russian weapons, like during 1944. I mean,
there wasn't any Russians there. They were still pushing on the Eastern Front. The only people that were in Normandy from the Eastern Front was fucking oh shit, I forget his name now. One of the fucking generals that
Rommel?
No, not Rommel. God damn it, I can't remember his name now. He was the guy in charge of the Panzers, which wasn't Rommel. Rommel was overall in charge of the entire Atlantic Wall, but he was in fucking Germany at his wife's birthday when D-Day happened. I can't remember. He was in charge of the Panzer divisions that were sitting 100 miles east of Normandy.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, he came from the Eastern Front to go to Normandy to prepare for the imminent invasion. But I mean, there sure as fuck wasn't any Russians there. I'm no, geographical fucking genius, but between Russia and Normandy, France, is Berlin. If the Russians made it from, Stalingrad to Normandy, they kind of skipped the fucking objective. I mean, what the fuck? And they sure as fucking weren't pulling troops from the Eastern Front to put them in Normandy, because by time the Russians broke out on the Eastern Front and started pushing the Germans back, Hitler had a standing no retreat order, let alone fucking pulling troops from the Eastern Front to take them west.
They ship them all the way across Germany, ship them all the way across France.
Right. It's just fucking
There
ridiculous.
There were conscripts in France, but these are conscripts from like Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, they were Czechoslovakian and shit. They weren't fucking Russians with Russian-made PPSHs. They were using German Kar 98s and shit.
Yeah, they were using Mausers and like MP40s and shit. But I mean, I think that the arsenal that was available at the time, I think, should be adequate enough. I mean, I understand Battlefield is like kind of known now for having this huge fucking plethora of firearms to choose from. But I mean, just the base, the like 7 or 8 different Allied American weapons, the 7 or 8 different British weapons,
Yeah, that was the other one that got me was the fucking platoon sergeant carrying a fucking Thompson with a 50-round drum magazine, and it was the little shorty Thompson, not even the U.S. Army issued one with the long barrel. It was the little shorty one with a 50-round drum, and I'm just, what the fuck? And he's got the fucking pouches for bar magazines on his harness. Fucking Christ! Can we stop talking about fucking World War II now before I end up punching something? Fucking cocksuckers.
All right, we'll move on to well, what's left? We got Xbox, and I also wanted to touch on the PC gaming show that went on. There was because there was a whole hour dedicated to just PC gaming.
Well, let's first go over Xbox because they did have something that made me perk up slightly, and that was the announcement for Halo Infinite.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
did you see it? I didn't see that. Did you see it?
It's very.
I'm a big Halo fan, and
it's
I
very
missed
short.
that.
It's just a little cinematic. You get to see a helmet and stuff. It's Chief's helmet, by the way. So Chief is coming back.
Nice.
It's no like gameplay or anything like that. It's purely an announcement trailer. I don't remember for sure. I didn't catch whether you hear Cortana's voice at all. By rights, you shouldn't because she did technically destroy herself to save him, but we'll see.
And now she's in Windows 10 everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Now if you hear Cortana, it's like, oh fuck, what did I hit on my computer?
Right.
God damn it.
Get this bitch out of here.
Yeah,
Fuck
like
her.
they took one of the most beloved characters of any video game franchise and made her universally hated.
No,
like,
I don't need I don't need movie times, Cortana. Right. Fucking leave me alone.
So they announced Halo Infinite, which I never played the last Halo, fucking whatever the hell it was called. I think
Champions
5,
or
sure.
fuck,
I don't fucking know.
Called?
I just know I hated it because they, like, at the start of it, they were trying to make it out like Chief had gone fucking rogue or some stupid shit like that, and it just instantly pissed me the fuck off that anyone in this universe would believe that John or Spartan 117 had gone rogue and was acting against the interest of the USNC. It's like, come on, this dude has saved the fucking universe multiple times at this point. Fucking stop it. Stop. Like, it's not even half-ass believable. And very quickly, Taco, thank you a ton for that 10 spot. And also the 11-month sub
11
earlier.
months, yeah.
God, almost a year. We're getting there. But yes, thank you very much for that 10 spot. Hopefully, I will be taking the old man out to dinner on Sunday. Me and my brothers. So Halo Infinite. For those of you guys that don't know, Halo was a very big part of my life a long time ago. For Halo 1 and Halo 2, and even very slightly Halo 3. Myself and my brother played Halo a lot. Ridiculous amount.
So did we. We played a lot of Reach.
I would sleep. Middle of the night, you will see me playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Co-op was. We tried to do is my like Halo was one of the few games, or Halo and like Gears of War were like a couple of games that we could really like sit down. And that
really
ArmA
works.
2. Yeah.
Oh yeah, ArmA 2 was another really good one. Co-op, like
ArmA.
Halo co-op. One of my greatest experiences of video gaming is Halo co-op on the flood level when you first get the shotgun. I will remember that until the day I die. So Halo, I've been a huge fan for a long time. I kind of fell off when it got a little too crazy story-wise. Plus, I transferred into PC gaming, and I haven't owned a console since the original Xbox. And played Halo 2 on 360 while I was living with my brother. But we did, tournaments all over the state and stuff like that. I mean, when I said, we were serious in playing, I mean, we were very serious in playing. So normally I wouldn't really give a shit about a Halo announcement because it's been so long since I really played it. I think ODST was the last one I played, or maybe it was 3. I don't know which one came out last. In terms of those two, I don't know if it was ODST and then Halo 3 or vice versa. But
Halo is not going to be a console exclusive. It'll be Xbox exclusive, but thanks to the Xbox Play Anywhere bullshit, any Xbox exclusives are technically Microsoft exclusives now. If it's released on the Xbox, it is also released on PC via the Microsoft Store.
Interesting. Wow.
Which is fucking awesome. Well, it's awesome that it's released on PC. It's not awesome that we have to deal with fucking piece of shit Microsoft Store
Yeah.
to get it. But I'll fucking deal with it to play some Halo. So, I mean, we don't know fuck all about the game. Just know that, 343 is working on a new Halo. That's it. That's all we know. I'm, of course, going to be, looking out for it, and I'll end up picking it up when it comes out. And that's pretty much it on Halo. And very quickly, Aaron with the 12-month resub, 1 year. Happy birthday, Aaron. I'll put on my dress and sing to you later. Actually, it'll be
birthday? No. Oh
no,
yeah,
12
1 year,
months,
1 year,
you
1 year,
fucking
1 year.
jackass.
Shut up.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, leave me alone.
Actually, no, I can't even tell you I'll put on a dress because he's gonna be up here next month and he'll be like, "Where's that dress? You got a pretty mouth." So, I mean, what do you guys think? Fried taters. So, what do you guys think about a new Halo? You excited for it, or is it just kind of meh?
No, don't care.
I'm on the fence. I've played Halo for a while.
I like your wife more than you. Granted, that's not that difficult to do, but
I don't know.
Like I said, I'm on the fence. I haven't played Halo since God. What was the last Halo game I played?
Reach.
Was it Reach?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was Reach technically like 4 or 5 or I don't
No, because Halo 4 was Halo 4. Reach was like because between 3 and 4 there was ODST and Reach. So Reach was like a prequel. It was like a prequel to 1. Because I think Reach, the finale of Reach is when the Pillar of Autumn takes off. So I think it might be between 3 and 4. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a Reach takes place. It's like the last of the Spartans. It's like the Jedi, you get
Right.
to see all the Spartans become extinct except for Master Chief, and Master Chief is like fucking Luke Skywalker.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing, normally this would sound fucking ridiculous because most of us would hate this idea, but they've already proven that they can do it. I would love for them to release this Halo Infinite alongside a legit fucking Halo movie and or another Halo series. Preferably a Halo series done by fucking Netflix. Like at this point, Netflix is basically gold with all of the Marvel stuff.
Yeah,
We know that they can do that. A Halo series can be done. We've seen Forward Unto Dawn. Granted, we had to deal with the annoying little asthmatic fucking douchebag for like 6 episodes before we finally got to see Master Chief. But they legit had Master Chief in his armor, like 7 feet tall, looking like a total badass. They had a Warthog that was working, that had a fucking Gatling gun in the back, and it looked fucking awesome. So we knew it can be done, or know it can be done. They've tried multiple times now to make Halo movies. Way back in the day, there was that fucking test footage or whatever that was done of, from like a drone camera, and you get to see a brute and stuff like that. And then, there's been multiple directors and writers and stuff attached to the movie, and it's just been a gigantic shit show. Apparently, Microsoft are total fucking dickbags when it comes to, getting the stuff done and approving things and stuff. But yeah, I would love to see them release Halo Infinite, the game, and then turn around and do like Halo Infinite, the fucking series, and tell us what happened leading up to the game or what happens after the game as like a Netflix series or even a movie. Like, it'd be fucking awesome. So what else? What else did Microsoft announce? Because I mean, as far as I'm aware, you know, their only real claim to fame is Halo, Gears of War, and Forza.
Isn't there a new Gears of War? I'm
No.
not sure.
They did show the new Forza though,
Yeah, and
which
Okay.
I mean, I
Yeah.
figured the only person here that might even be mildly interested would be you, but I know that considering the type of racing that you do,
yeah, it's just
like
not my
this is kind of
style.
like kids play compared to what you actually do.
Yeah, I
So
can't get into it because it's too. It doesn't. The cars don't react in the way that you think they should react. So it actually, and that's I've had people ask me like, how do you drive like in Assetto Corsa? Like, how are you reading chat and driving like you're doing? One, it's a lot of fucking practice, but two, it's a realistic simulator. The car reacts in a way that you would expect it to react. As to where like Forza, like I own Forza Horizon 3. I can't drive for shit in that game because the cars don't react realistically. So when you fucking spike the brakes and then release the brakes and go to turn in and the car just keeps driving straight because you're not on the brakes anymore, it's like that's not what a real car does. Like what? So I personally I don't like Forza. I I know why it's popular. I mean, I played fucking Gran Turismo for years. It's basically, you know, an updated Gran Turismo. Um so well, there's also legit updated Gran Turismos from Sony, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's a pretty looking game. They've got some really nice cars in it, but I won't be playing it.
yeah. Other than that, Microsoft. I don't remember the other games that Microsoft announced. Again, I'm not planning on buying an Xbox like ever,
No.
unless like my wife
Well, we
finds
don't
a
really
game
have
and
any.
then I have to buy it.
Again, we
But
don't really have any reason to at this point
yeah,
because
I mean,
any Microsoft shit is on PC now as well.
you know, what's funny is that I bought an Xbox, I bought an Xbox, the first one, to play Halo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bought an Xbox 360 to play Dead Rising. There isn't a single Xbox One game that I would like buy an Xbox
Right.
to play. When we
The
own, I'm
the
trying to
only
think.
one that I would, if it wasn't for the Xbox Play Anywhere, like if they weren't doing that, you had to get a console to play these games. I would consider buying one for Red Dead 2 and potentially Halo after I seen, you know, some gameplay of it and shit. But Red Dead would really make me ponder getting an Xbox. I would still buy a PlayStation 4 over an Xbox One because they still, even with Red Dead, they still have better exclusives. But Red Dead would make me think about it.
I lost my train of
Um,
thought. Oh, I was gonna
Gears
ask.
of
Oh,
War
go ahead.
on
Go ahead.
Xbox. That's the only reason why I played. Well, Gears of War
Did
3
you
anyway.
did you play? What three was the? Well, there was a fourth one too, right? But
Yeah, I played it a
No, the
little bit.
recent one that we played together was 3.
we, no, we played the
No,
remake of the first one.
yeah.
Yeah,
We played the remake of one.
I played Gears of War 4 a little bit because I had co-op, and then I quit playing it because I couldn't stream it because OBS didn't like it. It just kept crashing my fucking OBS.
Yeah.
And again, that was because Microsoft are fucking douchebags, and Microsoft do not like you using third-party apps to fucking record their
Right.
shit because they're fucking Microsoft. So like even State of Decay 2, which is another Microsoft game, like I have to do actual monitor capture instead of game capture to be able to do that. Luckily, it doesn't crash my shit. Yeah, Gears of War 4 I played a little bit, but I was never really a Gears of War fan, which is kind of weird because I do really like the character of Marcus Phoenix. I
Yeah, so
love
do
that
I.
character. The voice acting in that game is great. The story of it is great. When Gears of War came out, I was already kind of transitioning out of console
Right.
gaming. So I never really got into it because when it was really getting big, I didn't own a console. So yeah, I don't know. Aside from Halo, I don't know what else Microsoft announced. That was the only thing that really caught my eye personally.
Well, for me, it wasn't so much the games because I was trying to think about it just now. Because we owned an Xbox for like 6 months or something like that, and I'm trying to think. The only games we we had the Xbox Gold or whatever, which was like PSN Plus, where you
Right.
get the two free games a month. We played some pretty stupid, shitty games that were free over the course of those months. And the only game that I remember Rain playing was that stupid card game. Remember what it was called?
Poker.
No,
Poker.
not poker. No. That was on 360. But it was the game where like the fortune teller draws a card and
Oh,
you have to, and then you
right.
like
I
you
remember
fight.
that. That's also
But
on PC too.
the funny story is about the Xbox One is that when I bought it, the only game that I bought one game, and it was the Rare Collection. So I bought an Xbox One to play fucking Banjo Kazooie again. I bought an Xbox One to play Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is a fucking 15-year-old game. Like that's about the only reason I could think of. But what impressed me with Microsoft's shit was they announced that yes, our exclusive lineup has been shitty. Like we don't really have anything like unique or like special to bring to the table. So what we've done is we've acquired these like 5 well-to-do studios. So they're
Oh
basically at
yeah,
this point
okay. Yeah, I
they're
remember
acquiring
hearing about
smaller
that.
studios.
Yeah, I
And
remember hearing about that they swept up a couple of like smaller studios to kind of get their exclusive game back up. Um, do do you have any idea what the studios were, or, like what type of shit they're kind of known for working on?
oh yeah, I did because they announced it during the press conference. I forgot though. I've kind of Xbox didn't really stick into my memory, so I don't quite remember. But they were 5 studios that were known for making a game or two that actually like stood out on the market that were good. They got good reception and but I couldn't tell you right now.
Right. Um, so let's move on from Microsoft. I know you said that you had wanted to talk about the PC gaming press conference. So what did you see from there that that kind of stood out to you?
Um, so for me, I know that Rain's gonna have a few comments too because I she was watching it too. Um, so for me, I'll tell you I'll tell you what the big one was. I mean, there was 2 big ones. One of them was Hitman 2, which we'll get to that because that's one that we're actually gonna take a few minutes on. But the other one for me, and this might be kind of weird, but they announced a game called, I believe it was called Two Twin Point Hospital or 2 Point Hospital or something like that, and it's literally a fucking like remake of Theme Hospital. Now,
Of
Theme
what?
Hospital from huh?
It's a remake of what?
Of Theme Hospital. Like you didn't play the Bullfrog games when you were like in the '90s. Theme Park, Theme Hospital.
Lost, I was in high school in the '90s. No,
You didn't play computer games in the '90s.
not at school.
Oh, I didn't play them at school. I'm just anyway. Theme Hospital was like a sim kind of game where you managed a hospital. You had to hire staff.
Oh, okay. So it was like fucking like the tycoon style
Exactly.
shit.
Exactly. Yeah, Bullfrog kind of innovated that.
Okay.
Bullfrog made the first theme park game, which was a precursor to Roller Coaster Tycoon. Bullfrog made Syndicate. They made Theme Hospital. They made one or two other ones that stand out. I forgot which ones they were though. But I was like clamoring for so long for like a new. I'm like, I wish someone would bring back like a Theme Hospital, like a Hospital Tycoon, something like that. And so these 2 guys came out on the PC gaming stage and like, yeah, here's our game, and it's literally like a 3D Theme Hospital, like to a T, note for note, is a recreation of that game with their own little personal touches on it, and I cannot fucking wait to play that game. I will play that for hours.
Yeah, for some reason I never could get into those games like Roller Coaster Tycoon and Theme Park Tycoon and all of those. Like I couldn't figure not really that I couldn't figure it out. It's just I couldn't. Like it just got very monotonous for me to do it. Like it was the same thing with like The Sims. Like it was way too
Oh.
monotonous for me.
We don't. The Sims is a very welcome game in this household.
I like one aspect of The Sims, and that's building the houses. Go figure. The guy that has built houses for fucking 20 years likes the fucking
Manual
building houses
labor,
part.
the Mexican.
Like I like the designing and the building of the house. Like that's my favorite. That's the only thing I would ever do in The Sims. Is I would just start with a flat lot, put in the fucking cheat code for fuck tons of money, and just build these mammoth, intricately designed houses and shit, and be my let my inner architect out. But that was it. Like I would just build the house and then move on to the next one.
Yeah. Check your really quickly, Brewer. Check your mic. I think you might have a cord loose or something. You're getting a lot of static on your.
No,
when you're
it's I know. I
Is it
don't
your
know what
internet?
the issue is. No, my mic has been acting up, and it fucking straight up died on me earlier today. So go ahead and get into Hitman while I try and get this fucking squared away here.
All right, babe. You want to start off? You saw the trailer, right, in Miami?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I'm excited for it. It's different. Like you mentioned from watching the trailer, you can now grab and shoot your target, including using different kinds of weapons, including household items like pots, pans, food, material like that.
The fish.
Yeah, the
He
fish.
he slapped the guy in the face with a fucking fish.
Welcome to Fishman.
But the IO stated like they did a little Q&A after they did the reveal for Hitman, and they talked about how like the maps are going to be bigger. They're adding picture in picture, which by the way, picture in picture was in like Hitman 2, like
Right.
on PS2, like had picture in picture. They got rid of it because they wanted to be like more realistic. But then you realize that like because you and I have played a lot of Hitman. We played a lot of Hitman Absolution. We played a lot of Hitman,
Of course.
the
Blood
more
Money.
recent one, Blood Money, and then the new one that's just Hitman.
Yeah.
Like without picture in picture, it's really hard to like, because some of those worlds are really big. Some of those
Yeah,
missions
right,
are really big.
exactly. And it's
So
just very
what does
helpful.
the picture-in-picture do though? Do you like hack into like a security camera so you can watch a hallway behind you or something like that?
No, what it does is that there are a lot of key interest points on the map. Like here's where one of your targets is, or here's where a person of interest is that has the key to get into the
Right.
door that you need to get into. The problem is you can't watch these people all the time. So the game's like, okay, we'll help you out. We'll give you a little picture-in-picture thing when this person moves. We'll give you a little picture-in-picture thing when this person is staying at this station because it's hard to set up your accidents because a lot of them require you to push a button, like say you put a mine down or you put whatever to simulate an accident. You have to have eyes on this person to do it.
Right, at
And
all times.
the problem with that is that as soon as an explosive goes off, you're a fucking like they're like, oh, who's this? All of a sudden, you're now suspicious, even though you didn't do anything. You're suspicious now, and all the guards are looking at you because apparently it was okay up until the explosion to be the only white guy in Egypt wearing a fucking guard's uniform.
Exactly.
So, but anyways, they're adding the picture-in-picture back in, which I thought was kind of a cool feature. They're also, I believe the developer stated that there will be over 1,000 NPCs on the map at any given moment.
Holy shit.
And
Say goodbye to your fraps.
I want to say he said, I'm pretty sure he said over 1,000. And say goodbye to your frames exactly. But
So I have to ask this though, and is the mic sounding any fucking better? Probably not. Yeah.
No.
God damn it. I don't know. I'm having weird fucking issues with the microphone right now. Hopefully it's still at least understandable, and I do apologize.
that's all right, Brooks.
So I have to ask this though. Why does Hitman go the route of like the opposite of Clark Kent? Like he blends in by being the most recognizable person in this area, no matter where he's at. I could never wrap my head around that. That like he doesn't even bother with trying to put on like a hairpiece or anything like that. Like I don't care where you are. Like even if you're at a fucking white supremacist rally, you see a
But
6'5" dude walking
bald
through,
guy.
bald head with a barcode tattooed on the back
No,
of his neck,
no,
you're
that's
gonna
what
recognize
kills
him.
me. What kills me though is the mechanics of you don't want to be recognized. You just put your hand on the back of your head and oh, you're totally fine. No one
Yeah,
can notice
that's a
you.
that's a mechanic in the Absolution and then the most recent game Brewer is that when you can do this thing called it's like Eagle Vision in fucking Assassin's Creed, where when someone's about to spot you, you like you hold down the button and it allows you to like walk past people that would otherwise recognize you. And some of the animations are literally Agent 47 like scratching his head or like he tips his hat down so you can't see, but he's walking with his hat held holding the brim of his hat, tipping his hat
Like,
down.
no one can possibly. You do not look suspicious at all, buddy.
Yeah,
Keep going.
Yeah, I
can't
just
recognize
and
me.
it's not to like bust the balls of Hitman or anything like that. I know there's a bunch of fans of that game. I never understood that concept
No,
of it.
I agree
Of
with you.
like
And you know what?
he's a master assassin and can do these things without ever being noticed. And it's like, dude, he's like 6'5" and he's in China.
Right,
He's
right.
gonna be noticed.
I was gonna say that because there's a lot of times you like you're not there's a lot of you spend most of your time not in the United States. Now, to be
Yeah.
fair, you do spend a lot of time in like Mediterranean countries like France and England and Norway. Like there's all white people there, fine. But you also spend time in fucking Japan, in Korea, in China, in Africa, in Morocco. Like there's no way that a palace guard that's supposed to guard the king of Morocco is gonna be some fucking random white dude. Like I'm pretty sure the guards know all the other guards that are on staff, or
Right,
at
and
least are
even
familiar
if
with them.
he wore the clothing, it still doesn't make any sense
Yeah, I
whatsoever.
mean, to be fair, it is like a nitpicking thing because we're just picking at a game mechanic that it is kind of silly, but like eh, that's always kind of bugged me, and I think like we used to make fun of it all the time because
Oh
Hitman's a
yeah.
game that's it's fun, and while we're playing it, it's like fuck you, don't recognize me, or like you would kill someone, you would like murder someone in front of someone else, and then run away and change your clothes, and now that your clothes are different, you're not the same person anymore.
Oh,
Exactly.
So
It's hilarious.
and in the same vein, games like that, the stealth games and like, whether it be that or Splinter Cell or Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. My favorite thing always is when you fucking smoke someone that is standing next to another person where goddamn well in real life that would be well within their peripheral vision and they just don't notice it at
Yep,
all.
yep.
And it's like, oh, well, excellent. They fucking hired Ray Charles to fucking guard the president here. That's good to know.
that's always been another thing with the AIs in Hitman. Hopefully that gets like it's a little bit better in the new game in Hitman, the new Hitman. But I mean, it was fucking atrocious.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and I think that's kind of a Ubisoft like carryover because if you remember Splinter
Oh,
Cell,
yeah.
like you would trigger an alarm or you would kill half the fucking facility, and then the other half of the facility would be pissed off for like 10 minutes, and then it's like,
Yeah, eventually they
oh,
calm
back
down.
to normal. Like, oh, everything's fine. You know, we didn't
Yeah.
just lose half the staff. We're fine. But anyways, yeah, Hitman 2. The mission that was being displayed was you have two targets because that's usually the case in Hitman. Now you have two targets, and they're both F1 F1 drivers, I think. And you're at some F1.
Oh,
Some
yeah. I seen it. Well, they're like basically prototype drivers. Yeah, and you gotta
Yeah,
fucking
and
sabotage the car.
you're at some racetrack in Miami, and one of the ways that you can like one of the really creative ways that because to get like Silent Assassin, you have to do kills that look like accidents. So one of the accidents that I saw, it was right on the trailer, is you let the you kind of rig the race, like you sabotage the other cars,
Hmm.
so that your target wins the race, and when your target is in victory lane, the pyros kick on, but you've sabotaged them, and they turn into like flamethrowers, and they cook her alive. Like they fry her
That's fucking great.
while she's holding like her victory cup, her victory trophy or whatever on Victory Lane.
That's fucking great. Yeah, and like
Yeah.
Mike points out in chat there, the alternative is Skyrim, where no matter what you're wearing, they recognize exactly who the fuck you are.
God, I would never forget Skyrim. My first time playing Skyrim, I had to steal, and that was a bad thing to do.
Once I found out you could put the pot on people's heads, that was
I
it.
started stealing some bread and some pots, and then the villagers came after me, and I logged out the game. I go back in, and they still remembered me. Never played it again after that.
But yeah, that was for me. Those were the two big ones. I feel like I'm glossing over something else that happened on the PC show. Oh, Brewer, I wanted to ask you, 'cause
No.
I didn't see everything. Was there anything on Star Citizen?
Not that I seen. I don't even think they were there because they do their own CitizenCon shit.
Okay.
Like they don't even bother with that stuff.
Oh,
But they
there was
don't
that.
really. They released that new ship pack, but they released that before E3 started. But yeah, they're a little different though than most developers because they're so open with what they're doing, what they're working on. They're constantly releasing videos. I mean, it's multiple times a week that I've got shit popping up from Star Citizen on my YouTube. So there's no real need for them to go to E3. I think they did. Yeah, like Vert said, they did show a trailer, but it wasn't really, anything that we hadn't seen before.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons that I fucking love those guys because they are so open with the development and exactly what they're doing and shit. Granted, it sucks that it's taking them so long to do the game and everything, but at least they're step by step showing us exactly what they're doing. With all of our fucking money.
There was one more that I can't remember if it was on the PC show or maybe it was an Xbox or something like that. But there was like a No Man's Sky ripoff of like a isometric game where like you can there's like a million billion fucking planets and stars and all that other shit. You can go to any one of them and you can fly around these planets. Like it's like do you ever play Spore? Like, do you
No.
remember like okay, well at the end of Spore you can like fly a spaceship, and when you get to the end game, and it's like the spaceship is like perfectly centered on your screen, and it's at the bottom of the screen and it's perfectly centered, and then you would like cruise around with that thing. That's kind of what this is. Where like you got your ship and you go from planet to planet, and I think you're exploring and you're trying to like unravel this mystery that you're whatever. But it's very like No Man's Sky, but it's like actually a game that's like finished. That's like
Right.
actually has content. It's not first person either. It's strictly like isometric kind of third person ish. But that was one that kind of stood out for me only because of like the scope of the game. But at the same time, I've heard this before. I think No Man's Sky kind of tainted that whole pie in the sky, big dreams thing where you just pile on. Oh yeah, you can go anywhere, do anything. It's huge. It's really huge, and it's like, all right, well, yeah, but what can I really do? And I think Star Citizen kind of
Yeah,
is
it's
one of the games that's addressing that.
it's kind of on Star Citizen at this point to show that that is still possible and
Yeah.
show that that can still be done. Because like, uh, fucking, what do you call it? Mass Effect Andromeda like kind of tried that and failed. No Man's Sky very famously tried and failed horribly. So it's on Star Citizen to kind of prove that that can be done. The downside with, and not even really the downside with Star Citizen, but the thing that people forget when it comes to Star Citizen is we're watching every step of the development of the game, basically from inception all the way through to completed product, which normally we don't see in games, especially games of this scale. You would never see like, granted it's not the same scale, but you wouldn't see this, inception all the way through to the completion of Fallout.
Right.
The developers aren't that open with what they're doing, and you don't realize that they've had a game in development for 5 years before it comes out. Like, look at God of War, a game that is critically acclaimed, everybody loves it, and now it's very public that that game was 5 years in the making. Normally you don't hear about that with games, but Star Citizen, you're seeing every step of that over that 5, 6, 7 year process or whatever. So it tends to get a little bit harsher of a rap than what I think it really deserves, because we're seeing the game a lot earlier than what you normally would. Not to say that I'm like, no, whatever, they can take as long as they want. Like, I still want the fucking game. I don't want them taking another fucking 5 years because fucking what's his nuts wants to keep adding more and more and more and more shit to it. It's like, just give us the fucking game and then add more shit. But was there anything else from the PC conference that stood out to you?
Andy, did you see anything that I might have? I only wanted to mention those, what, 2 games?
Metro.
Huh?
Metro.
Oh yeah, Metro. If you yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Metro, I love Metro. I love the setting for it. I do wish it was one of those that could be first or third person, or at least give me the fucking option to increase my field of view in first person, because like the gameplay video I watched of it, the field of view looks like it's like 80 degrees. Like, it feels like I'm looking through a telescope, and it's kind of annoying. So, I mean, what I've seen of it, it looks beautiful, absolutely stunning. I mean, the Redux of 2033 and shit, I mean, they were very good looking, even though for some reason they ran like absolute dog shit on my system. But yeah, it looks great. That is one game that I believe would be made fucking outstanding if you could play with one other person. That kind of game.
I wish. I
That,
love that game.
yeah, like that I wouldn't want, 4-player co-op party in it. It would just you and one other person. That's it.
Yeah,
I think
I
that game would
I
be
agree.
perfect for it. I was watching the gameplay trailer of it last night, and then I got pissed off when the Russian said over and out. I shut it off. So I don't know how much important shit I may have missed of it. There's just me being my normal asshole self, but it just fucking annoys me.
And I think that's. I mean, Metro. I know that. She's a big. I enjoy Metro. I do. But she loves her some Metro. She played Metro way more than I ever did. I think that was one of the when she started like having her own Steam games and everything on her own Steam account. I'm pretty sure Metro was one of the first. I think she bought it on Xbox and on Steam. Like, she liked it so much that she had to have it on both
That's when she
platforms.
grew up and became a real girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Metro I'll probably end up checking out. Maybe not at release, depending upon when it's released. Which is actually something we didn't really talk about. Obviously, most of these games are being released next year, with exception to Fallout. We know is coming in November, I believe. Or is it September?
This year too?
Battlefield is October. They're competing almost directly with Red Dead. Red Dead comes out, I think, the week before Battlefield. And then also the new Tomb Raider comes out in September, I believe. Which which looks good. I mean, it's another Tomb Raider. If you liked the last 2 kind of new Tomb Raider games, you'll probably like this one. It looks pretty much the exact same engine, everything. I'll end up checking it out, maybe even at release, because if it comes out in September, I've got enough time to play through it before Red Dead comes out. So yeah, Metro I'll end up checking out. If that rumor is true, Storm, if there is co-op, then absolutely I'll be playing it at release. If not, then I'll probably wait a little bit. So are we ready to get on to the big one yet?
Which one's talking about, Cyberpunk or?
Yes.
Well, so you're gonna have to take the reins on this, because I don't have any idea, like, really what Cyberpunk is. I've seen like the trailer, and I love the aesthetic, and I love the sound. I love that fucking that theme. But like
I love the car, which is like basically a fucking like highly modified Lamborghini Countach, which is one of the sexiest vehicles ever made.
My lady might know more. I don't know. I've paid very little, if any, attention to Cyberpunk.
I only follow it for my server, you know, posting it. I know about it. I just
Well,
never played it.
If you want to paint a picture for us, Brewer.
well, Cyberpunk basically, well, to take it back to the start, Cyberpunk started out as a tabletop game. It was basically D&D meets the Matrix. Okay,
Oh wow.
it was a tabletop game, but it takes place in far futuristic world where there's the net, which is where, you know, everything takes place, information is passed, so on and so forth. But again, it was a tabletop game. And the reason that's important, there's a huge following, a cult following, I should say. There isn't a huge following of any fucking tabletop game aside from fucking Monopoly. But there's a large cult following for the Cyberpunk series. Now, this board game sprawled into multiple series of a board game with all of this backstory and lore and everything tied in with it. And the reason that's important is the creator of this world, the guy that actually made the tabletop game and wrote all of the lore and created all of the characters, the classes, the language of all of it, has been approached many a times since he created the board game to make a video game adaptation of it. Now, the original release of the board game was in like 89 or something like that. Like it was mid to late 80s. So it's been 30 years that this guy has been telling people like, no, fuck off. You're not making a video game out of my child. And now CD Projekt Red comes to him and says, hey, we want to make a video game out of what you have created, but we want you to be involved in it. And by involved in it, we mean we want you to write the video game. We'll build it, but we want you to create the game itself because you've already created the world. Now, everybody, you know, in the stream and everything right now, like, you guys know my feelings on CD Projekt Red, how much I love those guys. So instantly, I can't say that I was a fan of Cyberpunk. I never played the tabletop or anything like that. I did not know the lore, the world, nothing. But the fact that it's CD Projekt Red that's developing the game, huge plus in my book, obviously, right away. Two, when, you know, the guy that created the world has been telling people for 30 years, no, you're not making a game out of my, you know, my world, says yes to my favorite developer, there's a reason for it. Like, this guy, it's not like he's fucking going bankrupt or he's just, like, selling the rights off to it or anything like that. He just agreed to write the game for them. So that also tells me, you know, their heart's in the right place. So going, I guess, what's the basic idea of the game then? Okay, it's an RPG, right? But it's set in a far futuristic world. So, and RPGs are what CD Projekt Red is known for. Obviously, the Witcher series, biggest series that they're known for. It's an RPG. It's a bit of a leap to go from, you know, The Witcher and dealing with swords and magic and stuff like that to going into far futuristic and dealing with technology and guns and stuff like that. But again, the world was already created for them. It's not like The Witcher where they had to create this world. Well, even The Witcher was based on books, but, you know, they have the actual guy that made everything to write all of this for them. They just have to build the game. Now, when the lead dev for CD Projekt Red, you know, when he's talking about the game, you know, not really giving us much information, but And I wish I would have pulled up the statement that they made after they played the trailer at E3, because the statement was just so fucking perfect. But the basic gist of it was, we told you guys we'll give you a release date when the game is getting close, and the game's not close yet. Your patience will be rewarded, but we're not going to tell you guys, it'll be out this day and then have to delay it. We won't do that.
Exactly.
And they said, they said right away, yes, you're going to get DLC. You're going to get some free DLC. You're going to get some paid DLC. It will be exactly like what it was for The Witcher. If you are expecting DLC to add X number of hours and, be a legit addition to the game, then be happy, because that's exactly what you're going to get. Is there going to be any type of loot boxes, microtransactions? It's a single player RPG. Have you lost your mind? Like, that was basically their wording of it. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would we put any type of microtransactions in a single player RPG?
Right.
No, absolutely not.
If I may, really quickly, before I forget, because you just mentioned microtransactions, I will say that kudos to EA, because they said it. They said it for Battlefield, they said it for Star Wars, and they said it for Anthem. Yes, we're going to have microtransactions. No, they're not loot boxes. No, they don't give you any type of advantage. They are purely cosmetic items that you have the ability to purchase with real money. You know what you're getting. There is no mystery. There is no gambling. You're literally buying weapon skins and like suits and shit like that. So
Right.
yes, microtransactions, no loot boxes. And I've said it multiple times. I think that is a perfectly reasonable, legitimate business model to have microtransactions for cosmetic items that do not alter the gameplay to benefit one player over another player.
Right.
That's all I got. That's all I wanted to say before I forget, because you mentioned microtransactions.
And yes, guys, again, I do apologize for the mic issues. There's nothing I can do about it right now unless I were to shut down the stream.
Have Aaron bring you one when he visits.
Yeah, well, no, it's not my mic. It's some wires or something's going on with drivers or some shit. Like, I have a fucking $250 recording microphone. I know it's not the mic.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you got a new mic.
So, and no, I got to figure out my mic issue before I try doing any fucking operations. But very quickly, I want to rip through this stuff with Cyberpunk. Unfortunately, I'd like to spend more time on it, but I'm not going to subject you guys to shitty audio quality. And hopefully, my voice is still clear enough for you guys to be able to understand what the fuck I'm saying. If not, I apologize and go on about the rest of your fucking evening.
We can just make my wife like read a transcript. She got a good voice.
So we have multiple classes that you're going to be able to play in Cyberpunk. You are going to be able to create your own character. It's, all the greatest RPG elements that you want in an RPG. Huge world, all of that good stuff. The only downside that we have seen so far is that they did announce and confirm that it is going to be first person only, which is counter to what they had announced or what they had alluded to a few months ago. So that's a bit of a downside. I'm still going to end up checking it out. So, I'll still end up playing it. I would much prefer it to be in third person, but I'll still end up playing it in first person. Like Drummond said, hopefully, because there is a lot of people, kind of speaking out saying, hey, what the fuck? Like, months ago you said first and third person. Now you're saying it's only first person. Like, don't start doing this to us now, CD Projekt. Like, everybody loves you. Don't fuck this up. So hopefully with people speaking out about it, they'll end up adding that into the game and be like, oh no, we made a mistake. We'll have third person in there, but we'll see. We're still a long ways off from seeing the game. There is no release date yet or anything like that. So hopes are high. Either, no matter what, whether it has third person or not, I'm going to end up playing it. But I am very much so looking forward to it. But again, we're looking at summer, more likely Q4 of 2019 before we actually see this game. So, again, this is why I call E3 fucking blue ball season, because 85% of what we talked about tonight, you're not going to see until next year.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
there's a handful of games that we're getting this year. You know, one of the biggest ones that I'm excited for that wasn't even really talked about at E3 is Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is going to be fucking amazing. Actual endurance racing based on the Blancpain GT series, both sprint and endurance, with proper driver swaps, day-night transitions, all that really good shit. I can't wait for that. It's supposed to be hitting early access sometime in the next month or two. It's going to be fucking epic, and my arm will be good by then, and I'll be able to drive again. So I'm really, really excited for that. Now, to kind of wrap this up, as we've been going for almost 3 fucking hours now, Jesus, I knew this was going to be a long one. What, from each of you, what is the one game that you're looking forward to the most right now? I know this is like fucking Jeopardy level question.
That I'm most looking forward to. I would say it's it's gonna be I gotta give it a toss up, really. It's between The Last of Us and fucking honestly Resident Evil 2. As a fan, like if EA came out tomorrow and said, "Hey, JK, I don't like TNC shit. We're making a new Command and Conquer game," and it's like a real Command and Conquer game, I would fucking piss my pants, and immediately I would disregard everything I said about E3 and be like, "This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. They're making a Command and Conquer game, and it's a true game." But having said that, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and this game looks really fucking good.
It really
So
does. It's a
uh,
shame you missed it.
I truly love. I shut up.
Keep twisting that knife a little bit more.
As much as I love Last of Us, and I really do love that franchise. I might have to side with Resident Evil 2, honestly.
For me, it'll probably be the same Resident Evil 2 or Battlefield. Only because the trailer looks pretty badass.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Division 2, which is fucking weird. I never thought I would say that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Division 2 just because of either Division 2 or Anthem because of the 4-player co-op.
Oh, Anthem. Oh, man.
Those are kind of my go-to. And no, Riley, nothing was announced about ArmA 4. The only thing that Bohemia showed was their new game, but that wasn't even technically at E3. That was at Xbox Live. Well, I think that booth was at E3. But that was their new game. I can't even remember the fucking name of it. It's basically fucking Daisy, but, you know, it's, there's no zombies. So, actually, yeah, it's Daisy, with Unreal Engine instead of their own proprietary engine. That's it. That's the only thing that came out of Bohemia. So, fuck them. Yeah, I think it's also a toss-up for me, but it's between, Anthem and Division 2, because of that 4-player co-op. Because that's always the most fun I have playing games is when I get to play with you asshats.
I love you too.
I don't mean you. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up for E3. I mean, there's still.
I think it's funny. We didn't even fucking. I don't care. I know she doesn't care, and I'm pretty sure you don't care. Nintendo happened today, and we didn't even talk about it.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
even
don't
watch
care.
it. Wasn't even a thing in my head.
I haven't cared about Nintendo since the SNES.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I played 64 a little bit. I played 007 and Star Fox, and that was it. So yeah, I'm really not interested in any of the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good Zelda game. I do enjoy Nintendo. I would say that the Super Nintendo was probably better than the Genesis. I would defend Nintendo for a lot of shit, and I do appreciate. I think the Switch is a pretty cool console. It's a pretty cool idea. I just don't. I don't think I bought a Nintendo product with the exception of a DS.
They don't make games for me anymore.
Yeah.
They make games for kids and families.
They're having PUBG on the Switch, so there's that.
So they still don't make games for me.
Sorry.
There we go. I killed Loster. Mission complete.
So, you're welcome, honey.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up for the E3 episode. There's still shit I want to talk about, but I'm not going to make you guys fucking sit through these audio issues. I'm probably going to end up fucking whipping a goddamn $200 fucking soundboard at a wall by the end of the night. So, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing an ArmA operation. I'm going to get this fucking figured out. We'll be back at it, hopefully, Saturday with some OSUT, and then Sunday with Task Force Alpha, where I will be Zeusing. So, see you guys this weekend. Sunday, I won't be doing OSUT because it's Father's Day. I got shit to do.
Not to babysit little bastard retards and teach them how to use an AT4.
Yeah. I'm going to go fucking see the guy that taught me how to use an AT4. No, not really. My dad didn't actually have an AT4. My childhood wasn't that awesome. It was close. We had a little miniature cannon and shit that he made.
I've been wanting to make the joke, Brewer, that like how I introduce you to my wife, like how would I address you, like as in like, and you've said it before. You're like the little retarded brother I never had, and my joke.
No. You gotta get it right. You're like the retarded little brother I never wanted.
Oh, whatever. But
there's a big difference there.
Thanks. Fair enough. But mine was gonna be like we're like it's a spin-off on like brother from another mother thing, where like our dad, like we have the same dad, and he picked like two of the shittiest cities in the fucking country to like spill his seed in. He picked Buffalo and Flint, and it's like this is the only place that he could go to find a mate who would accommodate him. Like that was the joke I was trying to lean towards. Like, yeah, great, you picked two really awful cities to make kids in.
Oh gosh.
So basically, what you're saying is that our father would have a poor choice in habitats.
Yes. If he could have picked, if he could have thrown a dart anywhere in the country and he lands on Michigan, he's like, fuck it, I'll try again. And then he hits Buffalo.
Well, to be fair, of all places my dad lived, it was Texas, well, Michigan, Texas, Germany, Texas, Michigan. So, yeah, he still doesn't really have a great choice. So, yeah, that's it. Loster's still retarded. Loster's wife is cooler than he is, which, yes, who's surprised by that? So, yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. We'll be back at it this weekend. Again, apologies for the audio issues. Don't forget, if you did not catch the first 2 hours or whatever of the podcast, make sure you check out the Patreon link down below to get access to the podcast once we are offline, because I do pull this off of Twitch, and only Patreon supporters get access to it until next week. And you can also get involved in the podcast, whether it be sending in questions or topics that you want to hear us talk about, or even be a guest on the podcast. So make sure you check out that Patreon link. And as always, thank you guys for the support tonight, and I will see you all later.
Later.